Connection Conference number 3, day 2, and we have a phenomenal speaker for you in this session. He's here with me in the green room, and his name is J.R. Speer. I'm going to read you his bio before we bring him on screen. J.R. Speer is a resilient entrepreneur and the founder of Creed Consulting and Business Leaders Network. Having survived a suicide bombing at a walking checkpoint in Barwana, Iraq, on February the 7th, 2007, JR returned from the scorching desert with a renewed sense of purpose. Since then, he has successfully built multiple businesses across diverse industries, including fitness, martial arts, marketing, advertising, and consulting. Dedicated to empowering small business owners, JR's mission is to provide them with the essential tools and resources needed to flourish. By sharing his own experiences and the lessons he learned along the way, he aims to help entrepreneurs avoid the struggles he endured, allowing them to realize their desired life and business goals. Since 2017, JR has been instrumental in helping hundreds of entrepreneurs achieve remarkable growth in their businesses by implementing the STEPS framework: structure, technology, efficiencies, processes, and scalability. He has enabled them to double, quintuple, and even decuple their businesses. I hope I pronounced that correctly. As a sought-after presenter, JR captivates audiences of all sizes by sharing personal stories and life experiences that not only drive his points home, but also keeps his audience engaged and attentive. Attendees leave his sessions with practical, actionable steps they can implement beyond the presentation, further enriching their entrepreneurial journey. And with that, we say welcome to J.R. Speer. How are you, J.R.?
Hey, I'm so excited about being here. Thank you. You need to turn that music back on and get it up and moving. So,
absolutely. It's always so
jamming out a little bit while I was listening to it.
Yeah, we keep driving to it at the back. You know, it's good to have a little bit of fun as well. And it's always so good to engage with you, JR. You know, I've learned so much through the Business Leaders Network. Absolutely phenomenal community. And we are really, truly blessed to have you here. I'll give over to you. You have the stage. And thank you so much.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for being here today. And I'm just going to assume that the people that are watching this and listening, there are small business owners, coaches, speakers, authors, or those that serve them, and they're wanting different help that can help them build their businesses. And I want to take you guys back to my early days in my story, so you guys can know a little bit about me and why you guys need to listen to me, what I have to say. So starting back from early childhood, I always joke saying I came out of my mother kicking. She always owned a martial arts school. She, since she was about 10 years old, she grew up in the martial arts, competed on a national level. And I have 4 sisters that we kind of grew up in the same space. So from the day that I was born, I was always in the car seat running around with her. When she's teaching a class, she's teaching fitness, she's teaching martial arts. We were always there with her. And then there was, when I got a little bit older, about 10 years old, I remember a specific date and time that my mom wasn't feeling well. She owned a martial arts school. And she was like, hey, I need someone to go there to teach. So because we just can't cancel the classes. And at this moment, I never really did anything more than just hold different targets for people or maybe teach them a form or kata or whatever it may be. And I had to step in and lead back-to-back classes at the school all day. And that's where I really started to develop the love for teaching and what had ultimately led me to where I'm at today. So since a very young age, started teaching about 10 or 11 years old, had many opportunities through high school to be able to travel my local area around St. Louis, Missouri, and going to different high schools and teaching my peers about self-defense and awareness. And then from there, I went into the military right out of high school in 2003 into the United States Navy. And ended up spending my whole time serving with the Marine Corps and deployed to Iraq in 2006 to 2007. Well, that specific deployment had definitely changed the whole trajectory of my life, but taught me so many different business lessons that I employ and teach today. But one thing as an entrepreneur that we all need to understand is that we all need to make sure we are prepared for the day when we get ambushed. And that's a very strong title, but it's the truth. We are all going to get ambushed sometime in our life. And we just want to make sure that we have the right systems, the process in place. So that way when we are ambushed, when a COVID happens, when we are taken by surprise, that we are prepared and ready for the fight. And so just like my bio, what Juanita was saying is on February 7, 2007, I survived a suicide bombing at a walking checkpoint in Barwana, Iraq. And that one experience have definitely taught me a heck of a lot. And it took me years to really develop. Like, hey, why did I even go through this? Why did I survive this when we had a bunch of other people that, didn't make it through, paid the ultimate sacrifice, lost limbs, and still having surgeries to this day? Yet I was probably the closest person to that blast and walked away with a speck of blood in the back of my flak. And these type of questions and the demons just kept going through my head for years. I mean, 5, 10 plus years, afterwards. I'm like, man, what purpose does God have for my life? Why am I here? And what can I learn from this lesson? I can say this, that from that lesson of when I got ambushed, when that suicide bombing went off, is I was able to react without thinking. My job in the military, I was a chaplain's assistant. So my job was to make sure that I protect the chaplain during a time of war, because chaplains are non-combatants. They can't carry a weapon even for defense. And so they had someone like me that provided security, that was their weapon, and that did administrative tasks. Well, during this moment when the blast had, went off and had happened, I was thrown to the ground, left unconscious. My ears were ringing. I didn't know if I lost any limbs. All I knew is the whole right side of my body was completely numb. Couldn't lift up my rifle, couldn't raise my arm, couldn't do anything, and just had my whole right side of my face was completely numb. My right arm, I couldn't raise it above my shoulders. And even today, I still suffer with a lot of that pain. But even during that time of chaos, I was still able to see that chaplain on the ground, barely moving, and I was able to crawl over to him, grab him by the back of his flak, and drag him about 25 yards underneath shelter while we assess the area for any potential danger. But how was I able to do that? Well, when you are training, whether you're in sports, whether you're in business, no matter what you do, when you are training and learning to prepare for something, preparing for the game, preparing for the next sale, preparing for the next combat situation may happen, we are doing monotonous schedule, just constantly repeating over and over and over again. And we're like, why do we keep doing this? I just ran, 3, 5, 10 miles. I just went on a 20-mile hike with this pack. I just shot down 100 rounds down range. Why do I have to keep doing this? Why do I need to get up at dark 30 with this heavy pack just to train to go on a hike? Why do I need to practice the same drill over and over and over again when we have already done it 1,000 times? Well, it's to prepare you for the day when you do get ambushed. And this is where people mixed up. We live in a day and age where everything is digital, and people just want to hit that red button and saying, hey, you know what? I just want to start printing money. I just want significant growth. I put in, a solid month, a solid 3 months, a solid 6 months, a solid year. And why am I not where I'm supposed to be? Why am I seeing all these people that are less qualified than me getting further ahead along in business while I'm still back here struggling over and over and over again, just trying to barely pay my bills, barely put food on the table, and I can't get ahead? Well, this is stuff that I hear all the time with a lot of people. And the problem is they just give up too easy. Most people, the reason why they fail in business happens because of a couple different reasons. 1 is lack of commitment. 2 is the lack of sacrifice. And 3, they just give up so easy. And what I mean by lack of commitment, lack of sacrifice, I'm not saying that you guys aren't committed to be able to build your business. You're all in. You're doing everything you can. But those that get ahead faster, they understand the sacrifice that it takes to get to where they want to go. Meaning, if a family friend or a coworker or whatever saying, hey, you know what, let's go out for dinner, let's do this. Are you disciplined enough to say, hey, you know what, I'm actually finishing a project, I got to focus on this to be able to do it? Because the reality is, as an entrepreneur, no one's going to tell you yes or no. No one's going to tell you that you can't go to sleep or you can't go out and do these other things. And I'm not saying that you can't have fun in life. But those that get ahead faster understand priorities, and they understand what it takes to actually get ahead. And so for those that move faster inside of their business, they're fully committed and they're fully willing to sacrifice everything to get to where they want to go and go through that pain now, so that way they are prepared later on. And that just becomes from regular, constantly practicing your schedule, practicing your tasks, practicing doing the things over and over again, making sure you are, taking care of your customers the way you say to, and just being on top of it and being the best in your industry. But some people are okay with just saying, hey, you know what? It's okay. I'll put it off tomorrow. But the others that want to get ahead faster are the ones that sacrifice and do the things now and know that the long-term game is going to pay off. Take me for a good example. I built 6 different businesses over the past 16 years. And one business I built was something called PowerFit Bootcamp. It was like the biggest fitness bootcamp business all over St. Louis. had it all over Illinois, North Carolina, and South Carolina, expanded to 4 different cities in less than 3 years. And I didn't treat it like a business. It was a very thriving business. I was making really, really great money. I was helping a ton of clients lose weight, get stronger, feel better, and whatever they wanted to do. And yet my schedule consisted of, I would get up early in the morning, go teach a 6 a.m. class, go home, take like a 2-hour nap or whatever I wanted to, go to the gym, work out for about 3 hours a day, then go teach my afternoon class, and then hang out with my wife in the afternoon. I barely did any marketing. I barely did anything in the business to actually help it grow. I mean, I had my systems in place. They were doing really well. But I look back now, it's like, man, if I just employed the things that I know now when I was in my 20s building that business, how much further along would it have been faster? I probably wouldn't have shut it down. I mean, the truth is I got burnt out and I was like, I want to change. I want to do something different. Even though I did really well with it, when we decided to move to the East Coast, I wanted to do something different and, close those doors. I didn't want to manage a big team. I didn't want to recruit a bunch of personal trainers to teach my classes and manage them anymore. Just lost that passion and love for it. But the matter of the fact is I didn't treat it like a business. I wasn't fully committed and willing to do the sacrifice it takes. I thought, you know what? I was in the military. I spent time in Iraq. I'm going to do what I want, when I want, and however I want, which is great. We had a great life and, we enjoyed the things that we wanted to do. We took trips whenever we wanted to take trips, but I didn't treat it like a business. So the reason why I say that, because if you guys are feeling like you're stuck, if you feel like I just can't get ahead, there's so many different factors that go in play. But the first thing I always ask is, like, first off, are you fully committed? Are you willing to sacrifice? And are you doing the things that it takes every single day to build that business? Well, when we are in the military, from the day that we get off that bus in boot camp and put our feet in those yellow footprints is the day that we start being conditioned the way that we think, the way that we act, the way that we move, the way that we talk. Everything changes from that day one. And you don't even realize it until one day you're like, hey, you know what? I know how to do this. Someone says go, you go. When someone says stop, you stop. And you know exactly what to do and how to do it, when to do it. And you do it without thinking. The problem is a lot of businesses nowadays, they suffered during COVID. COVID happened, a pandemic happened, and a lot of them didn't know what to do. They were just shut down because they didn't know how to pivot to online. They didn't know how to pivot their businesses. They didn't build a strong enough network to help push them through. And so I want to focus on today is not only learning how to be prepared for the ambush, but being prepared for the ambush is making sure that you have the right things in place, that you are doing the right steps in place, but you are only as strong as the men and women to your left and right. So in the military, we always say, we got your six, or you're always reliant on your person to your left, your person to your right to watch your back no matter what situation that you're in. And in business, we need to make sure that we're doing the same. We need to make sure we build a strong army, a strong network, so that when we go through a time of chaos, when we go through, a recession, when we go through COVID or whatever it may be, that we are prepared, we are ready to be able to stay in that fight, keep pushing forward, and win in the end. Because those people, those entrepreneurs that did not set up the right tools, the right systems, the right network, they shut down, they failed miserably, and they're still struggling today. But that doesn't have to be you. You don't need to always think about, man, my business is suffering because, a recession is coming. My business is suffering because of COVID, whatever it may be. But you could put in the right steps and the things in place now to making sure that you're prepared. Well, how do you build a network? How do you build a thriving network of people that are excited to want to buy from you? Now, if you guys know who I am, I'm the owner of Business Leaders Network, and I built that stemming from wanting to help my clients show them how to grow a network. And I wanted to be able to bring people to them saying, hey, you know what? I'm going to bring people to you so that way you can connect them, so you can grow your influence, grow your impact, and make and grow your business. So Business Leaders Network, we're all about providing the tools and resources that can help you guys grow, to be able to help you connect with other industry leaders so you can pass referrals, so you can all go out there, make a bigger influence and bigger impact and grow your businesses. So if you guys are looking for a place where it's like, I want to grow my network and I don't know where to be, I don't know where to go, we have an amazing platform within the Business Leaders Network, and I would love to invite you there. But how do you grow your network? Well, it all starts with understanding who you are and who you want to attract. I mean, we always talk about, like, what is your avatar? Well, that's the truth. If you don't know who you're going after, you don't know what message to be able to convey to them. So you don't know who to even talk to and how to talk to them. You need to start with understanding, what is your mission? What is your purpose? Who are the people that you want to go after? I mean, the vision is where everything starts and foundation. If you don't know the destination of where you're going, it's going to be really hard to create that path to actually get there. Start with that vision. Write down the steps, knowing exactly where you want to go. Understand that purpose. That purpose is that fire inside of your gut that's going to get you out of bed saying, I'm going to do this because I have a purpose and I have a mission that I need to accomplish. So before we went overseas to Iraq, we first needed to know our mission. We needed to know what were the goals that we needed to achieve and what were the steps to make sure that we were prepared for it. This is where people fail. They just go through a regular schedule over and over again saying, you know what, I know how to build funnels. I know how to do copy. I know how to do ads. I know how to help people with their mindset, life coaching, whatever it may be. But they have no clue about what they're doing, and that's going to lead them to where they want to go. They're just showing up every day just to do work, just to stay busy because they think they're being productive. But imagine this. If you guys had a clear vision about what your business looks like, about what your personal life looks like, where you live, how you want that lifestyle to be, wouldn't that excite you a little bit more to be able to show up and do what you got to do? What if you had that vision about where you want to go, and now you're going to create the steps, the processes that's going to help you get there? Now you have a goal. So growing up in martial arts, we have multiple different belts before we get the black belt. But going through those different belts, there was different tasks and different goals that we had to achieve before we reached the rank of a black belt. And when you become a black belt, you're considered an expert in what you do. And that helps keeps you on track to where you're going to go. So you need to start with understanding your vision and your purpose. What is going to be that fire? What's going to be that thing that's going to drive you going forward? And then who are those people that you want to who you want to serve? And if you are just starting out, the biggest question that everyone always asks me is like, well, I don't have any clients. I don't know who I want to serve. I mean, I guess I want to help, men, women lose weight. I just want to help people lose weight, get stronger. I just want to help people build their businesses. I want to help people write a book. Anyone that has a story, I'll help them write a book. That's not big enough, because there's a lot of people that I probably don't enjoy hanging around or know how to have a conversation with that wants to write a book. There's a lot of people that I don't enjoy hanging out with or, wanting to go sit at a bar and have a drink with, but they're still entrepreneurs that want to build their businesses. The best place to start, if you don't know who your ideal client is, you need to start with you. Figure out your likes, figure out your dislikes. What are the things that I enjoy doing? And then who are the people that I like hanging out with most? If you're a gamer, go hang out with other gamers. If you like to play sports, go hang out with people that are sports enthusiasts. If you like to read, hang out with the people that love personal development or whatever types of books that you enjoy reading. Whatever it may be, start with you. But for you to grow your network and have a powerful network of people that are going to support you, because here's the thing. When you're going through a pandemic, a recession, or hard times, it's your network and the people that are to your left and right that are going to hold you up and help push you through. They're the ones that are going to sit there and they're going to refer people to you because they love you. They want to work with you, and they believe in that you are making a difference and want to send all their friends to you. But if you don't have a network that's helping you do that, then you're going to sit there and continue to struggle. Understand that purpose, understand that vision, understand who is that person that I want to serve and be able to help most. And if you don't have anyone that you ever served, you're just starting out, start with you. The next thing is you got to make sure your message is super, super clear. If you're talking to someone and they ask you, hey, JR, tell me more about what you do. And you explain what you do and they still give you this deer in headlights type look, then that is a good sign that your message is not clear, because a confused mind is never going to buy. You have to make sure your message is super clear so that when people hear what it is, they want, man, I want to know more. That's exactly what I've been looking for. Here's a really good example for me. I went to an event in Vegas that I was speaking at, back in the early, I think it was May or something like that, April or May. And I knew exactly what I was looking for. I needed some help with some PR work. I needed some help, getting my message out there, but I didn't want to do any of the work. I needed someone that actually did it. And so when I'm at this event, I sat down next to this wonderful lady, met her just for the first time at this event, never met her before, never had a conversation. And her name is Angel Tusi. And she's telling me about what she does. And like less than 10 minutes in the conversation, I'm handing her my credit card, signing the contract, and hiring her to do the work for me. That's because I was very clear about who I wanted to work with, what I need inside my business, the steps I needed for my business. And we've been working well together for several months now. And I just got back from Denver to speak at her event and be able to serve her audience as well. And last week. And so when you know exactly who it is that you want to serve, or who it is you want to bring into your business, who it is you want into your network, it makes the decision process a lot easier. But what is that message? What is that one thing that you guys do so well that you can convey it very clearly, that every time you say it, people want to know more? And I try to tell people that you need to have this in 15 words or less. And why is that? Because, back in the old days, we always call this our elevator pitch. Well, your elevator pitch is your message about what you do that you can convey to someone. If you both get on an elevator, that you can convey your message very clearly from the time you get from the ground to your floor, which is about 30 seconds. Well, we live in a digital age, and on social media sites, doesn't matter what platform you got, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever it is, you get this much space to be able to convey who it is and what you do. So here's a really simple framework that you need to do. I help who get desire. Who is it that you want to help? Do you want to help them? Do you want to empower them? Do you want to inspire them? And what is the desired outcome that you want them to have? When you can figure out what that is, that becomes your message. So for me, it can be really simple. I help coaches generate more wealth. Well, hopefully, if I'm talking to people and they say, hey, Jared, what do you do? I say, I help coaches generate more wealth. They ask me, how do you do that? Well, I'm glad you asked. Now it opens up more conversation for talking about what I do, how I can serve them, how I can help them generate more wealth. But what is that desired outcome that they want? And who is it that you serve? So that way your message is very, very clear, that when you tell it, they know exactly what it is, no confusion, and they're ready to move forward with further conversation. So understand your purpose, understanding your vision, understanding who it is that you want to serve, understanding, getting your message super clear. And the next thing is understand your problems, what I call your big 7. What is your big 7? The 7 biggest problems that your perfect clients have. And why is it big 7? Why is it 7 problems? Well, when I first got into consulting, I created a 7x7 grid for social media and wanted a bunch of different ways for my clients to be able to generate more content and be able to do it faster and be able to figure out what it is that they can do and convey their message in a clear way that captures the heart of their attention, of their audience very well from what they wanted to say and teach. Well, there's 7 days of the week. So I said, okay, well, we want to make sure we're creating enough content there, every single day of the week, that we're consistent with it. And so I created a 7x7 grid, and that just stuck with me forever. So when I'm thinking about big 7, ask yourself, what are the 7 biggest problems your perfect clients have? And when you are thinking about the problems that you solve, essentially you are grabbing the heart of the people that you're speaking to and saying, hey, you know what? I understand your pain and I want to help. I understand your pain. I want to help. So this becomes the guideline of the presentations that you're going to speak on. This becomes the training that you're going to give, your lead magnets, your social content, whatever it is. Stay with your lane and understand, be like, hey, as long as it's under my big 7 guidelines, then this is what I'm going to teach on and do. So before you go out there and start growing your network and figure out, man, like, how do I do this and how do I do it fast? Well, you got to start with the foundational pieces of your business, of understanding your purpose, your vision, who your perfect client is, what your big promise is, and what your big 7 is. And when you can really figure out what those foundational pieces are, now you can go out there and employ it to really attract other people into your network. Now, let's talk about network. Let's talk about growth. Now that you understand the foundational pieces of your business, let's talk about how to actually build your network. Well, first thing, to grow any business, you have to be great at networking. And what I mean by that, it means bringing people into your pipeline that not necessarily are just your ideal clients, but people that I consider your power team, that can be referral partners, that can be people that you bring into your army that you can serve and serve well. Well, when you go into this mindset and saying, I'm going to serve first and ask later. And what do I mean by that? Serve first and ask later. When you go up to someone or you meet a new contact and you are focusing all about me, well, guess what? You're not going to gain any opportunities because no one wants to be all about you. But when you go in and serve other people and find ways that you can help them, they're more likely going to want to refer people to you. They're more likely going to want to do business with you. They're more likely going to want to be your friend. They're more likely going to want to participate in the events that you have to offer. But you got to understand this mentality of serve first and ask later. And there's a way to be able to do it. So I'm going to teach you guys a little bit, a conversational tool. So when I go meet someone for the very first time, I can go to a restaurant, sit at the bar, having a nice meal in a city that I've never been to before, have someone next to me, and I want to start a conversation with them. I want to learn more about them. So if you never heard of the acronym FORM, F-O-R-M, I learned this from Danny Johnson in one of her books called First Steps to Wealth. And I read that probably 15 years ago, and it ultimately changed my life. It changed the way that I communicated. It changed the way that I served people, the way that I grew my network, the way I made friends, but because it ultimately puts the other person first. But FORM stands for family, occupation, recreation, and then your message. So F stands for family. Find out about their family history. Who are they? Are they married? Are they divorced? Are they single? Find out where they live. Are they from this area? Are they not from this area? What brought them here? Find more about their occupation. What do you do for a living? What do you love about your work? Find out their recreation, their hobbies, their likes, the things that they enjoy doing outside of work. And then by this time, you have struck up so much conversation. You got them talking all about themselves that they want to ask you, like, so tell me more about you. Well, I'm glad you asked. Then you get an opportunity to talk about your message and what you have to offer and what you got to give. The one thing that people value most in life is themselves. So if you can get people talking about themselves, then the more likely they're going to want to think it was the best conversation in the world. So, but you need to make sure that you understand this. You got to serve first and ask later. You got to make sure that you are in this conversation focusing on them. Some of the best salespeople out there are not necessarily great at sales, but they're great at asking questions. The more questions you can ask, the more you can get someone to respond. And this is really cool from even a social media standpoint. And I'm totally getting off target right here, but I just want to give you a quick tip of how you can generate the fastest leads from social media, period. When someone says, I don't know how to get any leads, or I'm struggling getting qualified leads, or I'm struggling with all these other things, I'm going to tell you the fastest way to get leads. I can go generate 100 leads right now, really quick, in less than 2 or 3 minutes. And it starts with understanding who your competition is. And what I mean by competition, and if you're one of those people saying, I don't have any competition, my offer is so unique, no one's doing what I'm doing, I'm going to tell you, you guys are full of shit, and that you always have competition, because your customers are always buying something from someone else. And if it's not to you, they're buying it elsewhere. But you need to know where your customer is buying. Who is your competition? Be friends with them, follow them, like them. Watch their messaging. Watch how their clients or their audience is responding to their messaging and what they're saying. And when I say this is the fastest way to gain a lot of high quality leads, well, let's just say you have somebody consider a competition of yours, and they do a post that aligns with one of your messages that you particularly teach on, one of the big 7 problems that you do, and they get 100 likes and maybe 200 comments under there. Well, guess what? Those are 100 likes, 100 people, 200 people that are raising their hand saying, man, I agree, or I want to know more about this. They already did the qualifying process for you. Your job is to now go in there and start engaging with those people in a non-spammy way. Doesn't mean you go in there and say, hey, I saw you like this post. Let me go out there and be friends with you, and let me just tell you everything that I have to offer. No. But there's a process to be able to do it. If you guys want to know more about that process of how you can engage someone in a non-spammy way, shoot me a DM. That's a whole nother training and process I can go through. But that's the fastest way to generate quality leads, is understand your competition, watching what they say, and being able to engage with them so that way you can get them into your pipeline in your world. All right, let's go back to understanding the messaging when you're communicating with people. So when you're communicating with people and you're meeting them for the first time, I like to use the acronym FORM, which is family, occupation, recreation, and message. Now, every time I'm in a one-on-one conversation, I always make sure that I do one main thing, and I make it a game for myself. What can I do to serve this person? What can I give this person that can add value? And that can be a couple different things. So while they're talking, they're answering my questions. In the back of my head, I'm like, man, this person would be a really great referral for this person, or this person could be a really great client based off what they got. I want to make sure I refer them to them. Because if I'm making it my competition about like, who can I refer to this person, I essentially become a hero to 2 people. I become a hero to the person that I'm referring and the person that I'm referring to. And when you are serving other people and you are helping them and you're giving value to them, do you not think that they want to give back to you? So if you want to grow your influence and grow your impact, you need to grow your network. You need to making sure that you are out there serving more people before you even ask for anything in return. And the best way to do that is to make sure you give value, that you're serving them, that you're referring them, and you become a matchmaker. And if you're one of those people that are listening, that says, but I just don't like networking, I just don't like talking to people, and I say, then you probably need to choose a different profession. You probably need to choose a different career path of what you can do, because about building the business is about growing your network. It's about serving other people. We are about being problem solvers. And you are only as strong as your network. So if you guys want to grow your impact, grow your business, and grow your influence, then you need to make sure that you guys are focused, hyper-focused, and intentional on growing your network. Focus on the other people. Focus on them and what you can do and what you can do to serve them. Now, if you're asking yourself, where am I going to find these people to grow my network? Well, it goes back to what I just said. If you want to leverage social media, follow your competition and see who is following their post. Now, let me take it another step further. If you haven't identified who your power team is, this is a really, really great place to start when it comes to growing it. Because the reason why I say that, because the fastest way to grow your network is by leveraging other people's networks. How do you do that? Well, you got to be able to serve people to let you in to their world before they're even going to open up their network to you. But there's different ways that you can leverage other people's networks to be able to gain more influence, to gain more attention, so that way people want to buy what you have to give. And one is going to be podcasting. Podcasting is one of the most powerful tools right now to be able to grow your influence, but it's a great way to gain the attention of people that you never thought you gained the attention before. Had a conversation with someone yesterday, and he called me and was asking me different questions about podcasting, like, how can I get more guests? How can I actually convert these people over to leads and whatever? And I was asking about his process, and he says, well, I give a call to action at the end and ask them to download whatever lead magnet I got, but his conversion rate was actually slim to none. And for me personally, I barely ever do that. Like, I might say, hey, you know what, go here and you can download this. But I always say, just connect with me on social media. But what podcasting becomes very powerful to gain the attention of people that you didn't think you would have before is by inviting them to your show. When you have your own show, and when I say show, let's just say that you don't want to have a full blown out podcast, but you all have a social media page. Well, you can have your own show being just on your personal page of Facebook, or your own show just by being your personal page on Instagram, or your own show on your YouTube channel or TikTok, wherever you can go live to do interviews. That is your show. That is your audience. That's your stage for people to be able to hear your message and who you are. So if you want to grow, or if you want to gain the attention of high level people, the best way to do that is by giving them the stage on your platform so that you can open up your network for them. And when you do that, you are serving them. And now they're going to be more appreciative about you and want to hopefully return the favor back to you. So if let's just say I want to connect with Juanita, and I just can't get her attention because she works like crazy hours. She's all the way over in South Africa. Our time difference is just crazy. And I just can't get her on. I can't get her on my schedule for anything because she's just always so busy. Well, instead of just saying, hey, Juanita, let's connect, I'm going to go to Juanita. I'm going to say, hey, Juanita, I have an amazing podcast show that I get more than 450,000 downloads on it, and I would love to have you as my guest. Would that be something that you're interested in? You're giving something of value. I am opening up my network to Juanita now so she can grow her influence and her impact. And anytime you can serve people and do something like that, they're more likely going to give it back in return, which goes back to what I said, serve, then ask. You need to serve people first before you can ask for anything in return. But if you don't have your own show, I want to encourage you guys as entrepreneurs, especially if you're a speaker, if you're a coach, if you're an author, if you're looking for stages to be on, you need to have your own show. Because it's not just there to gain leads for you, but it's there to actually give a better influence. Because when you are able to get other people on your show and you invite them as guests, they're going to want to do the same thing back for you. So we're talking about preparing for the ambush, and we're talking about growing our network. Well, if you want to prepare for the ambush and making sure that you are ready for the day that you get ambushed, not a matter of if it's going to happen, but when it's going to happen, because an ambush doesn't always have to be bombs being flown at you, rounds coming down range, a suicide bomber, detonating a bomb. But this could be an employee quitting, a client quitting. This could be COVID, pandemic. It could be a family member getting sick, and now you got to take off. Ask yourself this question. if my child got sick and I had to be in that hospital for 2 weeks or 3 weeks or a month with them and not leave their bedside, will your business still survive? I can almost bet the majority of you listening to this right now, you're going to say no. But there are things that you can do to put in place to really making sure that you're prepared for that ambush of your child getting sick. And hopefully that never happens to you. It's happened to me. It's happened to me multiple times where I had to be at the hospital for a few weeks at a time. And yet my business is still able to grow because I grew a team. I grew a network. I grew, supporters and people that wanted, arm with me and help me and get to where I want to go. And I don't have to worry as much. But if you have not put together the right systems, the right processes, the right delegation, you're never going to be able to grow. And then when you get to the point of getting ambushed, run into a thing that's going to hurt you, are you going to be prepared? And it starts today. It starts with building your network. It starts with growing your influence. It starts with putting the right systems in place so that way you guys can go out there, build and grow and make an impact. So that way when you are ambushed, that you're able to thrive, that you're able to still grow, that your business will not fail, that you're still able to care for your family. When your spouse says, hey, you know what? I want to take a family vacation. I want to go away for 3 or 4 days. You can say, yes, let's do it. Without the worry of your business slowing down. I've been in that place. I've been in that place where it's like, man, I just can't take time off. And I still get that worry sometimes just because I'm a workaholic and I just love serving my audience. I love serving my clients. And I just hate taking time off because I'm like, I still got more things to do. I can always stay busy. But if I really think about it, I can take time off if I want to and choose to. And I do. With the understanding with my spouse saying, hey, you know what? I'm probably going to still have to take some calls. I'm still going to have to do some work, but it's also healthy to shut down. Point that I'm making, grow your network so that way when you are in those times of the day that you get ambushed, that you have a team, you have army of people standing by your side ready to go. So if you guys are looking for a network, if you guys are looking for a place that you can call home saying, you know what, I want to connect with amazing leaders, amazing entrepreneurs that can help me grow my network, that can help me grow my influence, that can help me get on more stages, that can give me the resources that I need, that can help me grow. If you have this vision of saying, you know what, I just don't know where I'm going to go and on how to be able to get to where I want to go. I created this vision that I want to live in this certain place. I want to have this certain lifestyle, that I want to be able to only work this so many hours a week, but I just don't know how to do there. Well, you need to arm yourself around people that are doing things bigger than you, because we all heard the saying that we're influenced by the top 5 people that we surround ourselds with. And it's so true. I remember the day when, back in 2016 or 17, when I was made the choice saying, I want to build a business online. And I wanted to do that because we had my first child went in 2016 and we had our second one coming in 2018. So my wife was pregnant with her second child. We got 4 kids now. Crazy. In a very short period of time. But I remember at that time, I was like, I just can't keep doing this lifestyle of traveling and doing all these different things and whatever, but I want to be able to pick up and go, which is bringing us to the decision of even wanting to homeschool full time with our kids because of the travel and the opportunities that I got. But if you're not in that place and you guys are looking for opportunities where it's like, you need the resources, you need the know-how, you need the tools to be able to help you grow, and you need the right people, you need to surround yourselves around people that are doing things bigger than you. Do not be part of communities where everyone is sitting there trying to figure things out. Do not be in communities where people are still in the phase of just trying to figure out who their ideal client is. Do not be inside of communities where people are building a culture of not showing up to one-on-one calls. Do not be in a community or a culture of people that don't follow through and do what they say they're going to do. Don't be in a community of places where people, see $100 or $5,000 as being cheap. Be in a community of people that are doing much bigger things than you and that have to where you're going. So when I made that decision of going online, I had this mindset of like, I just want to make an extra $2,000 online. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I want to figure this out. I took the one-away challenge with Russell Brunson with ClickFunnels. I was like, okay, this is a different world. It's making me think a little bit differently on how you can do it. And then I joined a mastermind. So the mastermind that I joined was not cheap, and it was money that I didn't have. So I ended up going out there, getting a loan to be able to pay for this mastermind for the year. And it ultimately changed my entire life, because what I thought was all I wanted was $2,000 a month online. When I joined this mastermind, and then I went to the in-person event, not just virtual, in-person event in Clearwater, Florida, I was surrounded in a room of about 200 to 300 people that were making more than 10, 20, 50, $100,000 online. And it changed my belief. Once I saw that people in there, and here's the thing, they're going through my head, I'm like, this person's making 20,000 online, they're making 50, they're making $100,000, and I see the caliber of who they are. I'm like, man, I got way more experience, way more knowledge, way more expertise than they ever will, especially in this fitness space of where they're at. I can do the same. I'm going to be bigger than every single one of these people. In less than 4 months, I was doing some of the top income earning in that entire mastermind, because I had to change my belief, and I had to surround myself around bigger people that were doing bigger things than me. Same with you. If you have been in a community for a long period of time and you're still stuck and you're still not seeing growth, it's time to look at another place. And I want to invite you guys to join BLN, our Business Leaders Network community. We are constantly only looking for high-level achievers, people doing bigger things, people that are growing and going to big places. And if you guys are looking for a place where you want to be around people that are doing bigger things than you and want to figure out how can I get there, then this is going to be the place that I would call home. And we are offering a one-time promotion. So we offer this as as an intro offer to come join our community, saying, hey, you know what? I'm not sure about Business Leaders Network. I love what JR is talking about. I love his energy. I love what he's talking, the foundation and everything he's saying, but I just don't know how to actually get started. Well, really simple. If you guys are interested and you want to check out our Business Leaders Network community, I'm going to offer you your first month for only $37. $37, you got 30 days to test drive our community to see if it's a good fit for you. We got 3 calls every single week. We do, panel talks. You get the opportunity to be able to speak on stage, through our panels. We have in-person events going into next year. We have 12 different events next year going into 2024. Have our next live event in Orlando, Florida, with only 4 tickets left, completely almost maxed out. So we want to make sure that if you are interested, you locked it in. But it's $37 for your first month. You have 30 days to cancel. If you say, hey, this just is not a fit for me, well, then after then you got 30 days to cancel your membership. If you don't cancel, it's automatically going to roll to our regular monthly fee of $250 per month. I would love to invite you there so that way you can get connected with the right group of people, the right environment, and get the tools and resources that you need to grow your business. So shoot me a DM. I'm on Facebook as JR Spear. Connect with me. Let me know if that's something that you want to interested in. You can always reach out to Juanita in this amazing community with Juanita Knapp, and she has all the information about how to get started. She can get you connected with me, and we can help you grow your business and get you connected inside of Business Leaders Network. So if you guys have any questions, make sure you drop them in the chat. Shoot me a DM. I'll love to answer any questions in regards to growing your network, creating the systems and processes that help you get there so you can grow your influence, grow your impact. And here's the one last thing that I want to leave with you guys today. I always tell people, is like, what is your creed? Creed Consulting is the name of my consulting business. And it's an acronym that I created that stands for commitment, resilience, excellence, execution, and discipline. So I want to leave you guys with this one question. What is the one thing that you're most committed to? They can be resilient even through the most difficult times. Showing up every day, giving your best, and having the mental and physical discipline to complete your mission. So what is your creed? So I got you for you guys today. And I believe Juanita is going to be jumping back on here. If you guys have any questions at all, I'd love to answer anything that you may have.
Absolutely fabulous as always, JR. Thank you so much. And I wore my BLN hat. I don't know if you guys can see the logo under the lights here. But
yeah, I love it.
I got my BLN swag in St. Louis. I traveled all the way, guys, from South Africa to be in person at an event of JR's at the BLN in St. Louis. And it was one of the most incredible experiences ever. I believe it's been a little bit more than a year, or maybe a year now, that I've been a BLN member, and I've learned so much. What I love about the BLN group is it's a group of professionals, executives, leaders in their fields, entrepreneurs. There's trust, there's communication, there's accountability. We have common goals, there's respect, there's innovation. And I just cannot tell you, if you are going to become a part of the BLN group, your life as an entrepreneur and as a business owner is going to change. Make sure you DM JR. you are going to make the best decision of your life. It's really been such a pleasant experience. So anyone in the audience, if you have a question or a comment, I'm going to check the live here on Facebook for any comments. Alejandro, do you have any questions for JR?
I don't have questions. I have a comment, and I just want to I just really want to thank you, JR, just for everyone. JR is not the first time that is part of the KAPPTOR Connection conference. And he's always willing. He's truly a servant leader. He serves. He's willing. To share. His time. I said it many times. You see, people can give you money, okay, and people can be after money, but money is something that when you lose, then you can always get back, okay. But a true leader not only gives you material things, but it gives you time. And time is one thing that once you waste it, or once you use it, you can never recover. It's gone forever. And for someone, to be able, to give of his or her time for a cause, that shows what character that person has. And it's been already demonstrated, what kind of a character J.R. Spear really has. Okay. And I'm definitely very, very thankful and grateful for knowing you, for you being part of this conference, and for being part of the Connected Leaders Academy also. Another great movement. But I think that three things that I got out of JR's presentations, which I'm going to share because I want everyone, to really pay attention and take note of that. First one is, are you fully committed? Commitment is something. Discipline, commitment, consistency is something that we all need if we want to move to the next level. So, are you fully committed? Second, are you sacrificing? Are you prepared to sacrifice? Because if you want to get something in life, if you want to pursue an objective, there is always a price, and you have to sacrifice one way or another. And the third one is, are you treating your business as a business? So many people, they have businesses, but they treat it as hobbies. Oh, this is my business, but really it is a hobby. But are you really treating your business as a business? And then the last one is, serve, then ask. Yes, don't ask first. Hey, see what I want to sell you or what I want to give you. No. Please serve first and then ask. And so those are really, really so impactful, powerful points. And so thank you so very much, JR, for nailing those really, really, really hard. You got a good hammer, so you nailed them really, really strong. So appreciate you, brother.
No, I appreciate being here. You guys, it's always an honor whenever I get that message coming across my DM saying, JR, you want to be part of this? And I was like, absolutely. Yeah, let me move my schedule around. I'll make it happen. So, but it's always a pleasure to be able to be part of what you guys are doing, because your guys' mission and what you're doing is making a big impact and difference to a lot of people. So I appreciate you guys.
Thank you, JR. I want to close with two things, and that's the first thing is JR really moved his schedule around to be here today. And the second thing is he's really committed to each and every BLN member. So, JR, thank you so much. We appreciate you. Blessings and love to your family. I believe you have a newborn as well. Yeah. So, God bless you.
You're able to see him, Juanita.
Yes. I can't wait to meet your new little baby and, see the beautiful family again. You're so blessed, and continue to be blessed always. and we'll be cheering you on. I'm a very happy BLN member, have been always, and I'm going to keep my BLN hat on for the remainder of today. So have a beautiful day and see you soon.
Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate it, everyone.
Okay,
Bye.
bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye. Wow, I mean, yes,
JR is
what a
always so amazing.
oh, what a great presentation. Absolutely fantastic. So this for all of you, I mean, you see, this conference, I mean, one of the characteristics of the KAPPTOR conference, the KAPPTOR experience,
Yes,
is that it gets better as we keep going.
that's the truth.
It doesn't necessarily, yeah, it doesn't necessarily mean that the first day is not good. No, 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 no. I mean, we're good from the very moment that we come live the first day
Yeah.
until the second that we say goodbye on day number 3. However, between the first day and the last day, it just keeps on getting better as we progress. I mean, it's
That's
just
the truth.
unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
That's
It's
the
great.
truth. And you know what I enjoy, and Josh spoke about that. I'm just copying the link to the LinkedIn group for our next speaker to make sure he's got the right link. You know what? What I absolutely love about what Josh said is the networking.
Yeah. It's very important.
It's lovely to network with people. And I have to say, let me explain a trip when I go to the US, what that entails. It's a long trip. I drive 2 hours from my city to the closest airport. Then I fly for 2 hours to Johannesburg International Airport. Then I have normally a 9-hour layover. Then I fly from Johannesburg to Frankfurt. And then from Frankfurt, that's about 10 hours. And then from Frankfurt, I fly about another 8 over to Newark. And the last time I went, it was from Newark to St. Louis. That's another hour, 2 hours, right? I flew all the way because of the teachings that I received at the BLN, because of the support, because of the networking. I flew all the way from South Africa in the middle of nowhere because I live between mountains. I flew all the way over to a BLN event, and I thoroughly enjoyed it because the edification, the networking, the connections I made there, the energy that's shared there, the vibe. When JR says the community is committed to its members, I vouch for that because that is my experience as well. And the networking is so important. We meet so many beautiful people, and that's what I love about KAPPTOR. I've met the most amazing people during our conferences. That's what I love about Meticulous Moments. Having been in the ministry for so many years, I love to work with people. And each and every beautiful individual I meet teach me something new. So, absolutely, guys, I'm so proud of all the speakers that have been on. And I can't wait for everyone just to join us and cheer these speakers on, DM them, network with them, support their programs because they are out there and they are doing amazing things. And we have someone very special in the green room with us. He's a very special friend of mine. And I had him, believe it or not, and Alejandro is going to laugh now, but I had him on Meticulous. Yes, Alejandro, he was on Meticulous as well. And Freeman, you're in the green room, and I say that for a reason because Alejandro always asks me who hasn't been on Meticulous before. So yes, I met Freeman through Meticulous, and he made
You
such an
know,
impression on me.
you know, as a matter of fact, Juanita, I'm just gonna say something. How many
Brace yourself.
billion people? Yes, how many billion people living on the planet Earth? Is it about what 7, 8, 9 billion people? Well,
I don't know.
Juanita is moving. I think that half of the population of the Earth population has already been, if not, is getting closer through the Meticulous Moments podcast. So I tell you, I mean, she's conquering the world one meticulous guest at a time.
That's what I'm doing. I'm conquering the world, guys. I even interview my Uber driver. So if you see me out there in the US and you're going to be my Uber driver, be prepared. I'm going to interview you. So I interviewed Freeman last year on Meticulous, and we had such a lovely session. And when I thought about the KAPPTOR connection, I said, you know what? Freeman has to be on our team. So he's in the green room with us. I'm going to be reading his bio to you. And he's going to come on screen. I'm going to give over to him and let him do his magic. Freeman is a stress management coach. He's dedicated and focused on integrating stress management into the busy lives of high performers. He focuses on helping people perform optimally by removing friction in their lives. Years of problem solving, critical thinking, and communication positions shaped much of Freeman's younger years. His life hasn't always been easy, but his ability to maintain a positive mindset has helped him through. After spending years diving into the why, he has developed time management, habit forming, and positive psychology skills that he now brings to his clients. And he's going to be speaking about the simple formula to stress control. Welcome, Freeman.
That was amazing. If I wasn't amped up before, I am now. Like I was here. I was like, this is going to be great. Super excited. And you brought me to here. And now like, this is going to be great. It's going to be awesome. And I'm very, very excited to be here. And thank you so much.
Freeman, Freeman, let me tell you one thing. Knowing Juanita for the time that I have known her, her second name is the elevator because she elevates everybody. I mean, yes, I mean, she is the professional elevator.
Amazing.
Thank you, Alejandro. That's a new one. I appreciate it. We're going to give over to you, Freeman. Thank you. Take it away.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm really excited for this, everyone. And I hope everybody listening is also very excited for this. If everybody can hear me, if everybody's excited, I can't see the chat, but I'm going to leave it up to you guys to put a whole bunch of thumbs up in the chats or those cool little exclamation kind of happy emotes, whatever you can, whatever to show how really excited and amped you are for what's about to come. What I'm about to share everybody here is sort of a bit of a sneak peek into the book that I'm currently writing. I'm in the middle of it. It's got a lot to do with what I do with my clients, my methodology, how I think, the way that I work. All that stuff is going into this book. The working title is, as Juanita lovely put it there, The Simple Formula to Stress Control. And I'm tweaking with that a little bit. We may change it, but we'll see how that goes. So I'm really excited to share this with all of you guys. This is the first time that I've publicly kind of shared this much of the information, this much of the behind the scenes. So really excited, and hopefully you all either have a pen and paper, have your phone out to take some notes, or do something. I'm also going to make sure that I give enough time here at the end to wrap up with any questions people might have as we go through this. So feel free, write those down wherever you have to put them. And at the end, once you finish listening to me talk here for a little bit, I'm going to give you all a chance to bring those up, ask any questions you may have, and we can kind of go from there. So first off, I just want to know, hopefully everybody is really, really excited. I'm going to be pretty much giving you guys a bit of a masterclass on stress management and positive living. So again, if you're all excited, let me know, drop in the chat, see how excited everybody is, get that energy going up in here. We're going to go over my secret 3 steps, okay? They're not crazy. They're not that amazing. They're not even that secret. Don't know why I call them that. But they're the 3-step process that we get into there. Okay, so really quickly, step 1 is develop easy to adopt and start the right habits. Get the ball moving. Step 2, create structure in your life. Step 3, refine, review, and explore. And that's it. So you guys can go. That's it. Well, that's all 3 steps. You got it now. You can sign back in for the next speaker. I'm just kidding. No, we're going to dive a little farther into all that stuff. So what started off a little bit, I want to talk to you guys about a really impactful point in my life. So when I was about 17 years old, I just about died doing something that I really loved doing. I'm actually going to pause there. Let's not start there because I think there's somewhere better we can start. We're going to jump back to that a little bit later on here. I want to start a bit more unorthodox with this particular speech, this particular masterclass, as I'm going to call it here. The reason I'm going to start a bit unorthodox is I'm going to tell you what this speech, what this presentation isn't going to be. All right. This isn't medical advice. By no means do I want you to take it from here, go to your doctor, go to your psychologist, go to your therapist and say, I listened to this guy at this presentation. It was amazing. And he said I should do all these things and I should stop doing these other things. That's not what I want you to do. I'm not a medical physician by any stretch of the imagination. This is not medical advice. It's also not going to be a sales pitch. I will at the end, I'll tell you where you can contact me and stuff that I have going on, but I'm not just going to try to pitch you my services for the next little bit here as well. And the research and the information I'm about to show you isn't groundbreaking. It's not brand new. The stuff that I tend to use is very stuff that's been proven, it works, and that's why I've put it into my process, because I know that it works and I can see the research that's helping people. So what is this? What am I about to talk to you about? Well, what I'm about to talk to you about is useful, it's simple, and it works. And that's part of the reason it does work, is because it's useful. You can start adapting it right away into your own life. And I'll do my best as we move through all of this to walk you guys through a procedure, not just give you answers, but give you the ability to create the answers for yourself. Because ultimately, when we talk about stress, when we talk about positive living, I can't give you the one-all solution to those problems. If I could, I would. I would say, this is going to fix all your problems. My aim today, my aim with my book, and my aim with everything that I do with my clientele is to give you the tools to solve those problems for yourself, to come up with the right answers, to come up with the right habits and the right structure that you can fit into your life to help you move from being in a negative, stressful environment to thriving, to being happier, to being more positive, more optimistic, and just really embrace the full success and the full force of your life that you can kind of bring to the table. So that's what we're going to actually be getting into today. I want to give you really quickly, who am I? Who is this person that's battling to me? Who is this person that's going to tell me, that I'm going to have, less negative stress. I'm going to have more happiness. Really quickly, I grew up in a really small mountain town, 3,000-4,000 people, very small. My reputation was everything. Mainly because I grew up in such a small town. I was aware that everything that I did, all the interaction I had with people were really, really important, and they would carry with me for the rest of my life. And it's something that I hold even true now that I know thousands of individuals. I still hold that core fundamental really important. I spent most of my life working as a whitewater rafting guide in a very small family-run business. Now, if any of you listening have worked in a family business, you know that it's not the most ideal environment to work with, right? Tensions are high, stress levels are high. When things go right, it's a party. When things go wrong, it's a disaster. And that was most of my life, was growing up doing this. It was incredibly fun. It was incredibly dynamic, but it taught me a lot of really important things. It taught me the importance of communication, having communication not just within me to customers, but me internally as well. Me to the owners, also my parents, the other members of staff that we had, really, really formed a lot of my ability to mediate, to grab information from one area and from another area and come up with a solution that works for both of those things. It taught me the invaluable skill of levels of organization that have helped me get to where I am and continue to help me and my clients grow and process things in a way that is structured and recordable. Because if it's not structured and recordable, which I'm going to talk about it in a minute here as well, it doesn't really do us a whole lot of good. And it also taught me some important things about running a business, the deeper side of things, the dirty side of running a business, not the flashy side that you're going to see all over social media. I learned a lot about that. When I was about 21 years old, I was already an operation manager. We had 2 locations, multiple staff. I was onboarding people. I was setting up whole day structures. I set up an entire organization for our second location that helps it run to this day. It does that. I was still running trips. I was still out on the river daily. I loved it. I loved what I was doing. I was very passionate about it. It came across in who I was. As I hit somewhere in my mid-20s, though, it began to shift. I noticed that I was no longer as passionate about all this that I was. I was beginning to sort of wear a mask. And I noticed that about myself. I was beginning to just act a part. And that worried me a little bit. I was like, this isn't sustainable, right? I have this self-reflection, what's going on. So it was time to sort of make a pivot. I pivoted into the world of tech, which seems like a crazy thing to do, to be somebody who's out on the river all day, to now somebody who sits behind a desk. But it was what I did, and I actually really enjoyed that process. So about 3 years, I worked as a freelancer user experience researcher. This is where I really began to understand psychology, how our brains work, why we do certain things, what calls out to us, and stuff like that. Like I said, I ended up doing this for about 3 years, really enjoyed that time, really enjoyed the lessons that it taught me there as well. Ultimately, the best thing that I learned from there, though, was people. I learned more about what makes our brains tick, why we are the way we are, what's important to us and why it's important, and just the way that our brains begin to map things. And that's helped really form a lot of what I do today now. Through that process, I found my way into personal branding, trying to understand myself, trying to build my personal presence online, on LinkedIn, and some of you may know me from there as well. It was in that personal branding experience where I really started to understand how much change we can have in people's lives. I began to connect all those little dots of my life and see that, hold on, there's a bigger thing here forward for me, and it's helping people live a more positive life, helping people live without the negative consequences of stress. And a lot of that started in a huge, massive movement that I started, it was a while ago now, which was my day one of 365 positive and educational posts. And those ran for about 467 days until I stopped running those. Interestingly enough, I learned a lot in there as well. And I've actually just restarted that. And today is day 3 of, and this is the working title, a year-long exploration of stress and positive life habits, or skills, I think is what I have it under. But that's a working title, so feel free to give me some tips on what you think would be a good title for that. I'm going to take you back a little bit as well to when I was a rafting guide way back, probably 16, 15 years ago now. I couldn't remember. One of my first trips really highlighted to me how much impact we have on other people in our lives without really knowing it. I was quite young at the time, and I was doing probably my first season of being an actual raft guide. We had just finished this trip, a trip I had done hundreds of times before that. And we come out of the really intense whitewater section of this trip. We get into this beautiful area, and the canyon opens up, and there's a massive, you're gonna have to imagine this with me here. There's a massive cliff face on one edge. The kind of sounds that dissipate a little bit, and you get this lovely calm that kind of just falls over the whole experience. And there was this kid sitting in front of me in the raft that day. And he turns around and he looks at me and he says, "I just want to say thank you." I said, "For what?" And he said, "For showing me that somebody my age can do something that they love doing." And I didn't think much of it at the time. I was like, "Oh, well, you're welcome." And I got home that day and I was chatting with my mother, and I was telling her about this experience that I just had on the river. And she goes, "Well, what you don't know, Freeman, is that group of kids that you took down the river today were troubled youth from a city nearby. These are youth who had never seen another way of doing it. They only knew the dark sides of life, living on the street, being abandoned by family members and those who love them. They'd never seen somebody living that level of passion." So realizing that I had that impact in an hour and a half really began, and now that I look back at it, began to shape my understanding of how much I can help people and how much I can influence people simply by telling them better ways of being and showing them happier ways of living life. And my 365 journey also taught me that. I had people stopping me all the time saying, "Hey, I really look forward to your posts every day," which spawned a newsletter. And now I get texts from people I know, and they say, "Hey, your newsletters really help me every week to center myself, give me gold, and help me reframe what I'm doing in my life." And I feel very, very fortunate and grateful to have that level of impact on people. Let's take another step back here really quickly, and let's talk about stress. Now, why have I added stress to my repertoire? We could talk about positive psychology. We can talk about the importance of living a happier life. And I think those are really, really important. But I also want to talk about stress. And there's a couple reasons, and I want to get into that. And this will make more sense when I get into the 3-step process. You probably have noticed, and if you've been consuming any of my content, you'll notice that I never say I want to reduce the stress in your life. I will say I would like to reduce the negative impacts of stress. But saying I want to reduce the stress is a very delicate topic in my opinion, and I'm going to explain why here in a moment. So, on September 5th, 2022, they did a massive report on stress levels on Americans. 75% of Americans experienced what they say as moderate to high levels of stress in the past month before the survey went out. When we take that globally, the results are very similar as well. In Australia, 91% of people feel more stressed about something in their life. In the UK, around 45,000 workers believe that stress is making them ill. And in China, a whopping 86% of workers report being stressed. So what does this tell us? Well, this tells us that stress isn't rare. We're all having it. We all are impacted by it. If anything, it shows that stress is actually more normal than it is rare, which means it's really hard to avoid, right? So if stress is so normal, why do we deem it as necessarily bad? Well, the truth is it's not necessarily bad. We've deemed stress as bad. The mainstream media has told us stress is bad, and I could talk a little bit about this, but essentially it goes back to science done in the 1970s on rats in laboratory environments where they gave them stressful situations. Those stressful situations can be boiled down into traumatic situations. They weren't just stressful. They were asking rats to swim until they were almost drowning. They were putting them in tiny little boxes where they couldn't move. All they could do was breathe. These are traumatic situations, but yet we labeled them as stress. And then so what happened is the mainstream media gets a hold of these titles and they say stress is bad. Stress causes this. And it does. And a certain level of stress does cause that. However, a certain level of stress is also good for you. And recently they did a study on some monkeys where they took the monkey and they took a baby monkey away from the mother monkey for just an hour every day. And obviously that was very stressful for this baby monkey. However, they then followed these monkeys into adolescence, into adulthood. And what they found is that small little bit of stress that they put this monkey under, a much more normal level of stress, actually led that monkey to show more maturity in the grand scheme of monkeys, which meant that the monkey was more curious. It was more likely to interact with its other monkey mates. Don't know if that's the term, but we're going to go with it. And it was more curious to learn tools and explore its environment. So this shows us that stress isn't bad. A lot of what's bad is actually their view on stress. I'm not going to pretend that I made this up either as well. There's a brilliant person. I highly recommend you go checking out her work. Her name is Kelly McGonigal. She wrote a book called The Upsides of Stress, which I recommend. But if you don't have time for that, there's a great TED Talk under the same name. Go watch it. It'll really change your understanding of stress and how you approach it. There's another great Dr. Elisa Emil, and I might have got that name wrong, who does something similar. So why is it different? So there's two different types of sort of our stress response. We can deem something as a challenge, or we can deem something as a threat. These are very important differences. So if something is deemed as a threat to our body, it reacts differently to something deemed as a challenge. And I'm not going to get into that. I'm keeping a close eye on the time here, and I've noticed that I'm at 15 minutes, and all I've done is talk about stress. Why is this so important? Because stress really scares me in a little bit. It scares me in two ways. It scares me the impact that it might have on me and the impact that it might have on my family. So if I don't deal with my own stress in the proper way, what will that mean for my family? What will it mean for those that I care about? And the second one that really worries me about stress and the impacts it has on our bodies is for all those people who may lose other people that they love due to something that I see as very easy to start to solve. Stress doesn't have to be the number one killer in the world. It doesn't have to have all these negative consequences to it. If we can learn to look at our stress better, many of us won't lose people that we truly love, or people we love won't lose one's close to them as well. That's really a lot of the mission of why I'm here and why I do what I do. When I began to look at work from Dr. Daniel Amen on how our brains work, this became really apparent to me. It was really apparent that how we navigate our lives, what we do, the food we ingest, the way we react, our mindsets, have a physical reaction in our brain. And a lot of the issues that come up in our psychology are actually due to issues in our brain. The great news in all of this bad news is that we can change the way that our brains work. So if you haven't yet, you probably have, but if you haven't yet, there's a term called neuroplasticity. And this means that the brain, the cells, the neurons, the format of our brain can actually change, even as adults in our lives. We can rearrange and make new pathways and new formats in our brains that our body can then follow. So that's really interesting. And that's what this 3-step process is intended to do. It's to help your brain to start creating new neural networks, new neural pathways, more positive pathways, more positive stress pathways, ways to solve problems, ways to look at opportunities. That's the goal of all of this, is to help reshape your brain and make you a much more healthy, much more successful individual. So, let's get into the actual 3 steps because I want to make sure that you get them. And by all means, like I said, write these things down here really quick. Before we get into 3 steps, though, just in case your doorbell rings, just in case my internet crashes, just in case for whatever reason, what other weird worldly event might happen, this stream just suddenly stops, I want to give you what I deem as my silver bullet. If you forget everything else that I talk about today, this silver bullet is the thing that you should start doing today. You should continually start doing. And if you don't do anything else, do this one thing, please. It's really easy. All you need to do is tonight, before you go to bed, take out a pen, pick up a piece of paper, grab your phone, don't really care what you do, but write down 3 positive things that happened. That's it. 3 things. Write them down. Don't make it complicated. All right? You don't have to solve world hunger. You could have a good peanut butter and jam sandwich. Boom, done. That was good. Had a great sandwich today. Had a great cup of coffee. Had a great conversation with my mother-in-law. All of these things are good, positive things that happened. Now, what begins to happen is this goes back to that neuroplasticity. It begins to change the way that your brain works. What happens is you now begin to look for those things throughout your day. Because you're asking your brain to remember them later on in the day, your brain's going, okay, these are important things to me. I'm going to look for them throughout the day. You now start to notice more positive things. You have a more positive outlook. And wildly enough, I know this is going to sound crazy, but that lovely Dr. Amen that we talked about before did a study. Before I even knew that this existed, I was doing these 3 things. But he did a study. People who did this, if they wrote down 3 positive things just for a week, and then they stopped doing it, you take those people and you compare them to a control group who just wrote 3 things down. They weren't positive things. And another control group that didn't write anything down. The group that wrote 3 positive things down saw improved mood 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, up to a year later. They saw improved performance at work 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, a year later. And wildly enough, they saw less illness, less physical illness 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, and up to a year later. This little simple thing, writing 3 positive things down every day, can literally change your life. And in my opinion, it is the silver bullet to a lot of this. So that's the silver bullet. If you really want to go grab a coffee or something like that, now you could. You've gotten, I would say, the biggest, most important thing out of the way. But if you're still with me, if you still want to hear those 3 steps proper, then again, give me some thumbs up in the chat. Let's see some excitement and let's get into the 3 steps proper, what they are, how you can start doing them, and how you can really start to use this to change your life and hopefully see a lot more success. Step 1, build easy habits that start to make a difference. All right. The reason I want to stress easy is that it will start to make a difference if you make it easy. So why do we start easy? Why do we start small? All right. The idea is that we want to remove the amount of friction it takes for us to start doing something. What this means is that we're actually just going to start. If it's complicated, if it's hard, if it requires a lot of friction between us and us doing it, we're not necessarily going to either A, start, or B, consistently do it. This leads me into something that I think a lot of us have problems with, which is motivation, right? So why do we start things and then not finish them, right? Is it that we don't have enough motivation? Is it that we're not dedicated enough? Is it that our willpower isn't strong enough? I have a bone to pick with willpower. I'm going to hopefully get to that. But no, I don't think it's those things. Honestly, I don't. I don't think you just need to be more motivated. You need to just be more dedicated, or you need to have more willpower. Another reason you might also hear is that you need to know why. You know why you're doing this. And I do agree with this one. I think knowing why is really, really important. I think you need to understand your why. I'm going to touch base on this at the end of this presentation of why you need to understand why that you're doing something and how that will help you do it more often. So it's very important. But in my opinion, the biggest reason why people start things and we don't finish them is because we want to go too big, too fast. The reason we want to go too big and too fast is a lot due to the social media aspect that we see ourselves in. The lie that we see portrayed across social media about change, about levels of success. We see the last push that people do. We see the last thing. We see Dwayne Johnson launching Tiramana, right? We see Ryan Reynolds buying Mint Mobile and becoming a billionaire recently. Right? We see the last bit of it, but we don't see all the other progression that they make, but yet we want it. We as human beings want initial gratification. We want Amazon packages to show up tomorrow. We can't expect this in a lot of the other stuff we do though. So let me run back to running a marathon. Let's go to fitness. I often go to fitness when I'm talking to people about this stuff because I find it the most relatable. So if you were to run a marathon, let's say you sign up to run a 50 kilometer, 35 mile marathon, and you'd never run before. You wouldn't expect to buy new shoes, put them on your feet, and run 80% of that. You wouldn't even probably start running 50% of that. You probably wouldn't start 20% of that. You would start small, you would start easy, and that would be expected. And it would be seen as normal. Nobody would be like, why aren't you running 25 kilometers today? You've only started, you started running a week ago. Nobody would say that to you. But for some reason, when it comes to our mental fitness, when it comes to our mental well-being, that's sort of what we expect. We expect it to be a flip that we switch and go, cool, now I'm on this path to being better and doing this great thing. Ultimately, though, the truth isn't nearly that sexy, right? The truth isn't that you get off your couch and you run, 10 miles, right? That's not how it works. The truth is often a lot more mundane. It's a lot more simple, right? You start with something that was easy. You start with something you can do, and then you do it consistently. You slowly get better at doing that thing. You slowly push the limits a little farther, and pretty soon the hard things are now the easy things, right? I like to tell people all the time, it's not necessarily that the easy things get harder to do, it's not necessarily that things get easier, it's that you get better at doing the hard things, right? Running 25 kilometers or 15 miles isn't easy, but it is easy to do if you condition yourself to do it. So that's the same way that I approach what we're doing here. That's why the first step is to start with habits that are easy, simple, frictionless, and then you start doing them right away. Because ultimately, doing something slow means it's sustainable. Doing something quick means you're going to burn out and you're going to stop doing it. Back to the gym again, right? If you were going to start lifting weights and you went to the gym 7 days a week for an hour a day, how long do you think you would lift weights for? How long do you think you could keep that up for? Are there people who could? 100%. There are people with insane amounts of motivation, willpower, dedication, who can go to the gym right off the couch, an hour a day, 7 days a week, and they're going to do that for months. But that's not necessarily exactly how it's going to work for you. So where do you start? How do you start small? How do you make this work? I like to break this down into a few categories. So let's talk first about sleep. All right. And the reason I start with sleep is I believe it would be really core and pivotal to everything else that happens. If you don't bring that level of energy, you don't get any proper sleep throughout your day, you're not going to be able to bring the rest of the energy and the mental clarity you need to tackle everything else in your day. So let's start with sleep. I want you to really ask yourself, what are you doing before you go to bed? What are you spending your time doing in those last 3 hours, 2 hours, and 1 hour before you close your eyes to go to sleep? Oftentimes, we get stuck in the morning. We go, I can't get up early. I'm not a morning person. 6 a.m. is too early. 5 a.m. is too early. You need to get up at 5 a.m., by the way. 6 a.m. is fine. We go, no, I'm so groggy in the morning, right? I'm struggling to get myself out of bed. It's probably due to the fact that you're not doing something right before you go to bed. I want you to follow these really simple process here. It's called the 3-2-1-0 formula. All right, and I follow this myself, and it's great. When I don't follow it, I notice, and I'll explain that later as well. The thing is, 3-2-1-0. So, no food 3 hours before bed. You don't want to be trying to digest food while your body is sleeping. It takes away from the energy that it's using. No work, no creative work 2 hours before bed. You want your brain to start turning it off. You want to start letting yourself come down. You don't be working and then crawling into bed 15 minutes later. No screens an hour before bed. Turn them off. Put your laptops away, put your phones down, pick up a book, talk to your partner, whatever. Stop looking at screens an hour before you go to bed, and don't hit the snooze button when you wake up. 3-2-1-0. All right? No food 3 hours, no work 2 hours, no screens 1 hour, 0 times hitting the snooze. Okay? Very easy. Ask yourself what your sleep environment looks like. Okay? Is there lots of lights? Do you have a TV in your room? If you do, get rid of it, okay? But what's your sleep environment look like? This is really important. Is it noisy? Is there lights everywhere? Is it dark? Is it cool? Is it too hot? Etc. And what do you do when you first wake up in the morning? So many of us are glued to these horrible things, right? We wake up, we grab our phone, and we immediately stare at that screen. We immediately fire our dopamine receptors into this thing. We train our bodies to say, hey, if you want dopamine, it's right here in this phone. All you gotta do is look at it. So ask yourself those questions. What am I doing before I go to bed? What does my sleep environment look like? And what am I doing when I first wake up in the morning? Start doing small little habits, adjusting those things to work better. Let's continue with exercise. Really quickly, exercise 10 minutes is all you really need to do to start making some big change. So first thing in the morning, let's go back to that, is to do 10 minutes of exercise. But go for a walk outside, right? Walk your dog, do some push-ups in your living room, do some squats, whatever you have to do, just do something for 10 minutes to get your blood flowing. This helps burn the cortisol off that your body produces overnight, burns those off into your brains, and then you'll start to be a lot more awake. It's the same reason so caffeine blocks cortisol receptors. That's why it makes us feel more awake. Instead, if you just burn off the cortisol in your brain, it's a similar feeling to drinking some caffeine. Get some sunlight as well. Get outside, don't look at the sun, but get outside into the sun. All right. These are important things that start to really change your morning. Exercise, right? What are you doing? How can you add fitness into some other habits that you have? Maybe you like to bird watch. Go outside, bird watch. Maybe you want to read a book, sit on a stationary bike while you read a book. Maybe you like to listen to podcasts. Well, go for a walk or a run while you listen to the podcast. So again, easy, just bring it into a current habit that you do have. Nutrition. Really quickly, I am not a nutritionalist, okay? I have no nutritional background in this sense. I don't pretend to fully condone what you should and what you should not eat. So I'm going to give you very quick overlays of some of this stuff, right? Just take a note at how you feel when you eat certain foods. Okay, so if you go to dinner and you have a big heavy burger and maybe a couple drinks, how do you feel the next day? So instead of me telling you these are the foods you're supposed to eat, I just want you to look at when you do eat foods, how do they make you feel after you've eaten them, right? Generally speaking, eat more veggies, eat more fruit, take some vitamins or supplements if you need to, right? But just start thinking about how do I feel when I eat this thing? Maybe I should stop eating that, or maybe I should eat more of it. Water has its own category, in my opinion. How much are you drinking, right? Again, how does it make you feel a day after you've been properly hydrated? How does your mental space feeling, right? Really easily, start your day with 16 ounces of cold water. It's that easy. First thing, get up in the morning, grab a glass, drink 2 cold glasses of water a day. Do that for a week and let me know how it feels. And I guarantee you're going to feel better. You're going to have more mental clarity and you'll have more energy throughout the day as well. And then also ask yourself, are you hungry or are you thirsty? Right? There's a difference there. How are you spending your social time? Right? Do you structure your social time? Do you structure your off time? Are you intentional with your downtime? Right? Are there little habits you can make throughout your day to make these things easier? Can you put your laptop away? Can you put your phone down when you're in social settings? And then look into breath work as well. So I'm going to give you a couple things really quickly on breath work here that I think can help people right away. And they're easy to do. Again, that's the weather in the step 1, easy, simple habits, right? There's a cool thing called the psychological sigh. And we've all done these before when we're crying. We don't realize we're doing it, right? But it's a big breath in all the way. And then a little one. And then let it out. What this actually does is it increases the space in your chest cavity and actually gives your heart more room to kind of build, which will actually decrease your blood pressure. It's kind of a neat biohack there. There's 4, 6, 8 level of breathing. There's Wim Hof breathing and box breathing as well. So explore these different types of breathing. Find a breathing strategy that works for you. And then in moments of either stress or negativity, try one of these quick breathing practices just to bring that into your life. Again, don't go complicated, right? Don't start trying to meditate 15 hours a day or 15 minutes. 15 hours would be wild. But just do that. It's pretty straightforward, pretty easy. And the last thing that's really, really important is start tracking these things. This is mostly, in my opinion, one of the most important things you can start to do, and it's why it's important to make it easy. So when you track something, it's easy to then look back at it and go, okay, what was working, what wasn't working? Or if something changes, don't feel as good as I was feeling. I was feeling really good last week, but now I don't feel so good. You can look back at your tracking, your journaling, whatever it is that you're doing, and see what you did. And again, I want you to make it easy. Write it down in that journal. When you write your 3 things down, maybe write 3 things that you did that day as well. Right? 3 things that made you feel better. Put those in there. It can be that easy. Maybe just make a simple spreadsheet, right? 1 line down the middle. On one side, write the activity. On the other side, write how long you did and what day you did it. Don't make this complicated. Don't make it hard to do. Just start doing it and make it easy and then build on top of it. Okay? So I'm going to get back to motivation here as well, because we often think incorrectly about the motivation cycle. Now, I should have had a graph for this, but here's what we think about motivation. We think that motivation happens on this side. We're motivated to do something, then we get inspired, and then we go and do it. We think that that's how that level of motivation works. But what if we don't have it as a linear line? What if we look at it as a circle instead? What if we look at it as you get motivated, you're inspired, and then you do? Well, now we can hack this a little bit. We can start with the doing. You can do something. you can be inspired to do more, which will motivate you to do more as well. And then now you're into the circle instead of waiting for motivation to happen. Now, what do you do when you get motivated though? Because let's be honest, we all get motivated sometimes. We all want to go to the gym. We all sign up for the marathon. We all buy the salad. I think this is what we're doing wrong with motivation. You see, we get motivated and we immediately start doing the thing, which is great, but it's not going to last us a long time. So here's my quick hack with motivation that I want you to try next time. Next time you feel motivated, right? Let's go back to fitness. Next time you feel motivated to go to the gym, instead of just going to the gym, doing your workout and going home and going, yeah, did the thing. Use the motivation to build the structure that you need to continue doing it when you're not motivated, right? So what does that look like? Well, maybe it means that you spend some time online researching a workout that actually interests you. And then you spend some time putting that workout into a calendar, giving yourself time and days that you're going to go to the gym and a workout that you're going to follow when you get there. Now, even if you're not motivated, you've given yourself the green light to go and do the thing when you're not motivated to go and do it. Far more beneficial than using your motivation on a one-off quick thing. So, really quickly, step 1 is easy habits, frictionless things. Make it easy to do, track it, and just start doing it. Start drinking 2 cups of water in the morning. Start looking at your sleep and asking yourself how you're feeling. Start looking at what you're eating and how it makes you feel. And start looking at your motivation different. All right, so that's step 1. That'll get the ball rolling. Let's get the traction going, right? Step 2, interestingly enough, I briefly talked about this with structure. This might often be my favorite part, is this structure. I think this is really important. I think it's something that a lot of us are missing in our lives. Now, we often hear structure, which correlates to you building time blocks out in your day. You structuring your day hour by hour, or your week, or you're putting structure into the things that you're doing. And that structure is really important. And I want to encourage you to do that. But what I want to talk about is structure that's a little bit different. And I think this is where what I do might be a little bit more unique to stuff that you may have already heard. This is also the story I can now tell you of when I was 16 years old doing something I loved and I almost died doing it. Now, we went out this day out onto a river that we knew was in a state of flood. There was more water in this river than there normally is. Probably more water than there is probably every 10 years. A very large volume of water. We were all trained. We were all professionals. We all knew what we were doing. We knew what we were getting ourselves into. This is not a situation we ever would have brought paying guests on who didn't know what was going on. All professional river outfitters on this trip. I'm not going to berate you with the details of all of it because honestly, a lot of it's jargon and you're not going to understand it all. Here's the thing to remember though. Here's what I remember very, very vividly. I remember our boat flipping over in the middle of a very large section of whitewater. I remember helping everybody else back onto the raft, which is upside down at this point. I remember falling off of the raft again as we hit some bigger whitewater. And then I remember being separated from the boat. What's interesting is the entire time this was happening, I was constantly going through this process of problem and situation. I'm going to touch base on that here and again in a moment. But to continue on with the story a little bit, so I fall off the back of the raft. Keep in mind, at this point in time, I'd been a professional swimmer competitively for probably about 10 years at this point in time. I've been doing it for a long time. I can say with complete honesty and full transparency, this was the first time in my life where I knew that if I wasn't wearing a life jacket, I would have drowned that day. Hands down, no questions asked. I was spent. I was at the point where all I could do was keep my head above water. I could tread water, and that was about it. And now I'll never forget this next moment either. One of my friends, one of the people that very important to me, stands up on the boat, quite far away from me now, and looks at me, and he points to the other side of the river. And I knew immediately that the problem is that below me, somewhere, was a very large pile of wood, what we call a log jam. So a bunch of wood that was piled up on the side of the river, and all the water was running towards that. It's a very hazardous situation, probably one of the worst things that you can come across in moving water. You can think of this like a strainer. So water will run through these objects, but people, objects, boats, noodles do not run through it quite so easily. I knew this was coming. I knew immediately. I knew from the expression on his face, I knew from the pointing he was doing that I had to swim to the other side of the river. And I also knew I couldn't do that. I knew there was no way to do that. So I kept falling into this problem solution framework, right? Eventually, I managed to make my way off the river, slowly towards, and I managed to crawl up about 10 meters before this methodology. I managed to crawl myself out of the river and avoid what was potentially a very, very dangerous situation. Now, what is this problem solution framework that I keep talking about? So here's how my brain works through these problems. Problem 1, the boat flipped over. Cool. Solution, get on top of the boat, help other people on top of the raft. Problem 2, I've fallen off the boat. Solution, get back to the raft. Problem again, can't get back to the raft. Okay, solution, look for a way off the river or look for assistance. Problem arises again, log jam coming up downstream. Solution, get off the river faster, right? This is how my brain kept doing it. So I remember all of this very clearly. What I don't remember through any of this was ever feeling fear, was ever feeling afraid. I remember being asked afterward, were you ever afraid that, you were going to die there? And I said, no, that my brain didn't give room for that. And the reason I tell you this story is because this solidified for me one of the most important things that our brains can do. If we give our brain structure, if we practice that structure in moments of crises, in moments of panic or issues that come up, our brains will fall back on that structure. They'll fall back on that format. It's so deeply ingrained there that we don't realize it's happening until after it's happened. We can use this same thing, the same thing that saved my life that day on the river, can help us live more positive lives, can help us negate the negative impacts of stress by giving our brain a clear structure to follow when we get into these types of situations. So how can you use this? What can you do? How can you use this amazing biohack in your brain to live happier, to live with less negative impacts of stress? What you can do is, this is the easiest thing to do here now, again, back to easy, back to simple, is I want you to think of something in your life that you do right now that has structure to it. Something that helps you get from point A to point B that you do without really realizing you're doing it. A couple of different things you can think of here, right? Maybe it's the way that you cook, the way that you get ingredients, the way that you organize a cupboard. Maybe it's how you play with your kids, how you pick them up from school. Maybe it's the way you paint. Maybe you code. Maybe you play video games. Maybe it's even in the way you clean. I want you to think of something that you do almost without thinking about it. And what is the structure there? Take that structure and can you adapt it to situations in life, positive or negative situations or a stressful situation in life? If you can't think of something like that, I'm not going to be able to walk through each of these scenarios with you guys because I don't know what your structure looks like. What I'm going to give you is a very simple structure that I've always worked with and I learned from being a raft guide, which is the STOP structure, S-T-O-P, okay? The S stands for stop. So the minute that you are confronted by a negative situation or a stressful situation, stop. Stop that negative spiral. So just identify the problem. Cool, this thing has happened. I'm going to stop before I do anything else. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to think. Okay, what got me into this situation? What is the situation? Let's lay it out properly, okay? Get all the information that you can about the information and what led you to that information, or that situation, sorry. Observe. What is going on around you? What resources do you have to solve this problem with? So now you've identified it, you know what's going on. What can you do about it? What are some of your options? What's your resources that you have available to you in this moment to help you with the problem that you come across or the situation? And then the last step is actually really important as well, which is plan. And this is important in two ways. A, as many of you know, if you don't have a plan, you don't have action, you're not actually going to do anything. A plan is the first step to having those sets of actions. It also helps your brain start to relax again. So if you tell your brain, we've identified a problem, here's what we think about it, here's the resources we have that we can do, and here's what we're going to do about it next. Now you're not stuck on the problem. Now you're spending energy on the solution. And ultimately, spending energy on the solution is where we want our energy to go. If we put all our energy into the problem, it's not going to solve it. If we put all our energy into the solution, we're more likely to solve the problem. So stop, step back, think, what got me here? What's going on? What's really the problem? What's really the situation? Observe, what do I have? What is at my disposal? What can I do to start moving, right? B, plan, write it down, take action. And I encourage you to, like I said, write this down if you can, or take notes on your phone if it's a more complicated thing. Even even if you can't do those things right away. Because oftentimes in life, that's the case, right? You're worried about something that you can't have impact on right away. So make a plan. Next week, I'm going to reach out to this person about it. Next week, I'm going to do this thing. But at least you've planned it. You've written it down and you've told yourself, that's when I'm going to do this thing. That allows your brain to let go of that information and continue on with what it wants to do. So step 2, building structure, right? Why is it so important? Okay, let's just do a quick recap here. Structure is really important because when, for lack of a better term, shit hits the fan, it gives your brain something to fall back on. It gives your brain a structure that it understands and it knows that it can then walk you through a process of. What structure should you use? If you have one in your life already, try to adapt it to being useful in a stressful or negative situation. This will be easier for your brain to do than creating a new structure. If you can't think of one, just use a simple STOP format and use that. Start practicing this. Start practicing this daily. Okay, last step, step 3. Step 3 is a bit of a boring step. It's why I leave it for last, but it's also a really important step. Refine, review, and explore. You wonder why there's so many diets? There's hundreds of diets, right? Millions of them. The reason that there's so many diets is because when somebody does a diet and it works for them, they swear that that diet is a perfect diet. Does that mean it's the right diet for you? No, it doesn't. We're all very different. It means it worked for them. It means it worked for some people, but that doesn't mean that it worked for you. And you are not them, right? You are you. And that's pretty cool that you're your own person. You have your own set of skills. You have your own way of liking things, your own way of reacting to things. You even are, you have your own way that you react to your diet and exercise. We're all very different. So I encourage you that as you go through this, you need to track what's going on. You need to keep a journal because this is the only way that you can look back and know if something's working or not, right? We often think we can rely on our brains to just, review that information from 2 weeks ago and go, yeah, I've been sleeping better because of this thing. Have you? Is that just the way that you're remembering it? If you don't audit your days and you don't audit what you're doing, it's impossible to ever look back and know what is working and why it's working. So you have to make these internal audits. You have to write some stuff down. Don't rely just on your brain to remember these types of things. So how can you keep track of stuff? How can you make sure that it's affecting you? Again, I've mentioned this briefly in step 1, but make it easy, right? Simple spreadsheets, simple journals, simple blank piece of paper, write stuff down. For myself, to give you an example, I started with 3 positive things each day. That's what my journal looked like when I first started writing it, probably 2 years ago now. It then expanded to 3 things that went well. And then it expanded to 3 things that went well, 3 things that I've learned. And then it expanded to 3 things that I've learned and 3 things that I'm grateful for. And then it was 3 things that I plan to do the next day. So just keep expanding on things, keep recording things, keep a running tally of what is working, what is not working, so you can make changes and you can look at things and you can review the results that are coming in. And then you can refine stuff as well, right? You can go, oh, I feel significantly better when I drink more water throughout the day. Okay, cool. I'm going to make sure that I'm building habits in my life where I drink more water. That should be a given, right? But maybe it's buying one of those measuring water bottles. Maybe it's making sure that you have a water bottle by your desk. Maybe it's making a visual cue nearby to make sure you have enough water. Same thing with exercise or sleep or how you do your work. Tracking these things helps you reinforce and create better habits around the things that are working and dropping the things that aren't working. And that's really important as well, because if we only look at the things that are working, we just keep doing everything, right? We need to be able to focus on the things that aren't working and drop those things as well. All right. So try to record the way it made you feel, right? And how it helped you kind of moving forward. So, another thing that I want you to do from here when you're reviewing things, right, is you can explore farther out. So maybe, for example, let's say you tried some meditation. You do it for a minute every other day. And you're like, yeah, wow, I feel really good after my meditation. Well, then explore farther. Do it for 2 minutes, do it for 5 minutes. Explore other types of meditation. Breath work. Maybe you're like, oh, I really enjoy this type of breath work, or oh, I saw this thing, right? I encourage you to continually explore different options and doing things, and then filter those things into your kind of daily habits and your daily things until you find the system that sort of works for you and what continues to work. And it's going to change as well. A year from now, 6 months from now, you're going to swap out something. Maybe you go from riding a bike to running, or you go from running to riding a bike. You go from group fitness to a personal trainer. But again, if you're not exploring, you'll never know what works better and what doesn't work. And if you're never capturing that information, you have nothing to look back on. And now I did say at the beginning that I want to talk a little bit about why, right? If you haven't read the book, Start With Why by Simon Sinek, I highly recommend it. I'm going to try to wrap this up in 4 minutes so that we have time for some Q&As here at the end. Why is why so important? And how do I find out the why of itself? One of the best ways to figure out your why of what you're doing, all right, is to ask yourself, what is it that I want to be remembered for? What impact do I want to have on this world, right? And start really tracking that stuff, right? Write your eulogy is a really scary one to do for a lot of people, but it has a really big impact. So if that feels comfortable for you, do that. What do you want people to remember you for? Also, I want to encourage you that this will help you then set larger goals, okay? And you can put these goals up on a big board somewhere that you can see them constantly. And really quickly, I want to touch on goals and the way that I think that you should view them. So, goals are great. I think goals are amazing. But hard, fast goals are often dangerous. And we see this problem happen with the Olympics and stuff like that. So, if you have a goal of, buying a big house, that's a great goal, okay? But what happens is you get the big house and then you expect to be a certain level of happy and you're not. So instead, it's important that the goal isn't necessarily the actual thing, but it's the way that the thing will help you live, right? So instead of the goal being buy a big house, the goal is, have a house that's comfortable for me and my family to live in. Much better goal, something that is movable and it's not necessarily attainable, but you can fall in love with the process of having a place that is big enough or comfortable enough for your family to live in. This goes with finances as well. Maybe your goal is to make $10,000 a month. Well, then you make $10,000 a month, and now what, right? If your goal is to make as much money as I need to do the things that I want to do, cool. Now you're falling in love with the process of doing that goal and not just the end goal itself. These are some important things I want you to remember, and I hope that you guys have taken some stuff away here. Really quickly, if you haven't written them down, here's the 3 steps. Again, really quick. Step 1, start with easy habits. Make it simple, make it frictionless, and start doing it. Step 2, build structure into your life. Build both structure for the daily things, as in start scheduling your day, start scheduling your week, but also build structure in how your brain reacts to what's going on in your environment. And step 3, continually review, continually reframe, and continually explore for other things. I want to thank you guys all so much for listening to me babble for the last 50 minutes. I'm working really hard on getting this book out. It's going to be a bit, but that's where this comes from. And yeah, thank you everybody so much.
Absolutely phenomenal presentation. Thank you so much, Freeman. I learned so much. Look at all the notes I made. My goodness, I don't know if you can see them. Look here, it's like all over the place, but that's how I don't do it like from top to bottom. It's all over the place, but I know what's going on.
I love that.
Love the 3 steps. Absolutely, we have to. Yeah, I love that we have to pick easy habits so that we can really get into the routine of doing them, so that we don't lose hope along the way, because life happens, and if we try difficult things too quickly, maybe we'll lose heart. I love the fact that we have to add structure and that we have to continually revise, because as as we grow and our routines maybe change or our schedules adapt, and we also change in our personal capacity, we have to make sure that everything aligns. Where's Alejandro? Do I see him? I thought I was missing someone. There we go. So absolutely love those 3 steps. And what I also wrote down, what I'm going to try and apply, is the 3-2-1-0 method. I've never heard of that before. And I'm going to reiterate for those who have just joined us. The 3-2-1 method from Freeman Beals, which I love, says no food 3 hours before bed, no creative work 2 hours before bed, no screens 1 hour before bed, and that's the 0 is don't hit the snooze button. I'm going to try and apply that. That makes so much sense, because we have to unwind. Tell me what happens when we do hit the snooze button. That's not a positive thing, right? Because I have to say I'm guilty of that. I mean, my first alarm goes off and I just hit snooze automatically because I'm tired. why is it not good? I'm sure that it's not healthy for us because our body must be ready to get up and get going.
Yeah, essentially you're telling your body that it doesn't need to be awake yet, right?
Oh,
And so when you wake up and you get up and you start moving, you're signaling
yeah,
to your body, "Hey, the day started. Let's get
that's
going."
it.
Right? They hit
Good.
that snooze button, and they've done some interesting studies, and it doesn't snoozing for even like 40 minutes post your alarm doesn't do a lot for your body. Your body's already dropped out of
Oh,
REM sleep. It's already done that. That sleep is
doesn't
essentially
count.
wasted time, right?
Mm,
And then it's going to take you longer to wake up even after that, right? Because your body's now confused. You've confused your body to, is it like, am I supposed to be waking up? Am I supposed to be sleeping? What am I
that's
supposed to be
it.
doing, right? You have to
Yeah,
be intent and say, no, we're getting up. That's what we're doing now. And that's
that's it.
part of the reason. I mean, I'm the same way. I have been definitely the faulter of hitting the snooze button especially when I was younger, and it's made me took me a while to kind of make the change. And I've slipped in the past as well. I've started sleeping in before and then hitting the
Yeah.
snooze button more often. And because I keep a fairly strict level of journal, I can see why am I not I don't have the same level of energy that I usually do. And I can look back and
Mm,
go, I've been hitting the snooze button recently. I haven't
yeah.
been as diligent with my 3-2-1s. And that's why my energy levels are lower than they usually are.
And also the water, getting up in the morning. First, I want to address my hand. This hand is not supposed to hit the snooze button tomorrow morning, so I hope that that the smack worked. But also drinking the 2 glasses of water in the morning, because
Mm-hmm.
we learned from some of our other speakers, especially I believe it was Dr. Caudle, and I'm sure you know Dr. John Caudle, that when we sleep, those toxins flush out. And then, you mentioned the water, and I connected the dots. And I was thinking, yeah, because now the toxins are flushed out of the brain, and the water helps to take it out of your system. So
100%.
that's a
You've nailed it.
wonderful tip. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the ways that I've remembered to do it is like, some people, and I'm not, I shower in the evening, but some people like to shower in the morning. But having the glasses of water is just like having that internal shower. And again, exactly what you said, it helps
That's
flush that
it.
stuff out of your system. Yeah.
Absolutely. I loved it, Freeman. Absolutely. Always a pleasure to engage with you. You just bring so much love and light to the world.
Oh,
And
thank
I
you.
enjoyed it. I'm gonna keep my notes, and I'm gonna rediscover them every now and again. I'm gonna start applying those principles that you taught us. And before we go over to how the audience can connect with you, how they can support you, let's hear if Alejandro has a comment or a question. You're muted, my friend. That happened
Yes,
twice to me today. Don't
yes,
worry.
I'm sorry. Um, I have a comment, and it's so good. I mean, to hear Freeman. I mean, I hear you for the first time, and it's absolutely incredible. I mean, the work that you are doing. I mean, in this particular area, which is a very critical and very important area.
Yes.
But your take on it. Um, and when you started, you said, well, stress. I mean, is stress, I mean, bad? Because I mean, the stress has a bad rapport, I mean, with pretty much everybody. I mean, yes, stress is gonna kill you. Stress kills you. Well, but there is. I think that I don't know. I mean, if you agree with my assessment, but uncontrolled stress perhaps will kill you. But when you keep stress under control and you use that stress for your own benefit, is an asset. Is that
Yeah.
is that a good assessment?
It's a perfect assessment. Yeah. And that's why I generally lean on this thing that you have to learn how to control your stress properly, because there is positive stress. It's called EU stress. And that's the
Yes.
stress that promotes you to do something. It's the stress that makes you meet deadline. It's the stress that makes sure you pick up your kid from school because you don't want something to happen to them. That's good levels of stress, right?
That's right.
Bad stress, generally speaking, is when it begins to be either traumatic or chronic, are the two really negative forms of stress. Traumatic, obviously, we don't need to talk about that, but chronic, I'll give people a quick little thing here. Chronic stress, when your stress is chronic, it generally speaking is when it begins to affect your sleep. So if you can't sleep because of how stressed you are, you've hit chronic levels of stress. And now you need to actually start reducing your stress a little bit because it's chronic levels now. So that's a good indicator for people to begin to look at it and go, is my stress chronic? Yes. I need to start doing something about it.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And just one more thing. I mean, one of the things you said, Jay, that you are going to start implementing, I mean, the 3-2-1 methodology. But I am going to start implementing, in addition to that, what Freeman said. Every night, get your journal and write 3 good things, positive things that happened to me today. Even, as a matter of fact, I mean, I just know one thing is listening to Freeman's presentation. That's a good thing that's going to go into the journal. The second thing is maybe when we are done with this conference, I'm going to have a cup of hot chocolate. That's going to be another thing that goes into the journal. So those, just to be aware of 3 things, good things, positive things that happen to you every day, and journal that. Can you imagine after you journal that for 6 months or a year, and then you go back and you start reading those? My goodness, I mean, that's tremendous.
I often do it when I have a bad day. I will go back in my journal and reread the things that have gone well, and it makes my bad day that much better. Yeah.
Yes.
You should do that. That focus on the positive. Love that. Absolutely. Freeman, tell the audience, how can they support you? I know you have your book coming out. You have other projects as well. How can they follow you, support you, network with you?
Yeah, definitely. So everything. So first off, most of my branding lives on LinkedIn. So if you're not connected with me on LinkedIn, by all means, please reach out. It's under Freeman Beals. You can see it on the thing there. Just go to LinkedIn, type that in. There's only one of me. Check that out. Follow me there. Like I said, I just restarted another 365 days of putting out really, really focused on positive and stress management skills. So all the next 365 days will be focused on that, which will also probably go into a book. And then my website is freemanbeals.com, which will also be where I do eventually drop the book. Once it's finished, will be dropped on that website. But right now, if you are curious to learn more or get more in depth with what I'm doing, I'm currently offering coaching as well. And I currently have, I was really excited to say at this conference that I was giving away 3 coaching sessions, but I filled all 3 of my free coaching session slots got filled in 24 hours of me launching that they were free. So I am, it was wild. I was like, okay, that happened way faster than I thought it would. But I'm still running. I still have a little bit of space for 3 clients to come in at 80% off of my full coaching price. So my coaching price is full price of my coaching is $6,000 for the 3 months course, and right now it's at $1,800. I think is the math on that. And you can go to my website and find that information there if you're curious to learn more.
Fantastic. Just reiterate that that website for me so I type it in the banner for you.
Yeah, so it's just my full name, freemanbeals.com.
Oh, good. Easy to find.
Keep it simple.
freemanbeals.com. Let me just put that on for people that wanna save that. Where is it? There we go. Hope it's on now. No, it didn't. Freeman Beals. Okay, let me just create a new one because it didn't take that one.
No problem.
So it's just www.freemanbeals.com, right?
.com, correct. Yeah, and you can also go on there right now, and I'm giving away. I'm still giving away free one-on-one sessions to people as well. So you can't get the whole course, but you can still talk to me for an hour. No sales pitch, none of that. I'll just give you some information and some direction forward.
Wonderful. We had such a lovely time with you. Thank you so much, Freeman. And we'll keep connecting, and we appreciate you. Have a beautiful rest of your Friday.
Awesome. You guys as well, and I hope everybody watching enjoys the rest of the conference. Thanks so much, guys.
Okay.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye. Be well. Be well.
Oh, my goodness. Tools and tips. I'm going to apply those. I'm really going to apply those. I need to do those tips like the 3210. that thing is for me.
So, as a
Definitely.
matter of
That's
fact,
so
as a
good.
matter of fact, I mean, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to announce that from now on, the captor, we are going to be also the 3,210 the method, because that's the 3210. Okay, that's the methodology that we are going to apply.
Good.
What is that? That's the when you pause your alarm clock, what is that?
I can't press my
Oh,
snooze
snooze.
button anymore.
That's right.
I'm
If
guilty of all those things.
if this is listen, if this is your snooze hand, boom. Now, if this is your snooze hand, then boom, boom. That's right.
Telling
I
you.
mean, just yes, and forget about snoozing with your right or left foot. Okay.
No, 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 no.
No, no, no,
That's
no.
true, because you know what I do, Alejandro. I actually I have snacks because I work late at night. Then because it's cold, then I snack. So I do definitely eat before, like within the last 3 hours of the day. I do work on my I do creative stuff until 2 hours before bed. I'm on my screen until literally when I go to sleep, and I hit my snooze button. So I'm gonna apply all four of those things, and yeah, it's gonna be awesome. And also the 2 bottles of water, 2 glasses of water in the morning. That I found very interesting to flush
So
those
that
toxins.
so that's as soon as you wake up and as soon as you get up, first thing is just chug 2 glasses of water. Bloom
Yeah,
down the drain. It just
that's it.
uh, yeah, it just because you see you spend the whole night without taking water, so you
That's it.
are
We
you're
don't think of it like
dehydrated.
that. Yeah,
That's right. You're dehydrated. So now what you need to do is you need to rehydrate.
hydrate. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, that's right.
absolutely, absolutely. I'm checking the clock. Gaby Abdelgadir is our next speaker. She did send me a message that she got the technical aspects figured out, because I believe that she was on a different device. So let me just check. I have a presentation here with us. I just want to quickly check if she's having trouble getting on. I think she might be logging on.
Okay, okay, okay. Let's keep the momentum going. KAPPTOR conference number 3.
We have to. We have to. Always. Never a dull moment. Never a dull moment. Not allowed.
Never a dull moment. Of course, never a dull moment.
So tomorrow is day
Excitement.
3. Day 2 is almost over. What happened? Where did the time go?
Well, that's exactly right. I mean, I was going to ask you
I don't
exactly the same
understand.
question. That's right.
I don't know.
Hey, I mean, I was thinking that the KAPPTOR Connection Conference,
Yeah.
or the KAPPTOR Connection. I mean, we have had so far. I mean, we have had a tremendous amount of success with these conferences and meeting these great speakers.
Yeah.
I think I propose that we have to look into the Guinness Book of Records. Guinness Book
Mm.
of Records.
Yeah.
When I mean, what was the longest conference that anyone put together, and without rest or sleep or anything. I mean, the longest. And so we are going to beat that record. I mean, we are going to
Yeah.
have a 3 or 4 day conference, 24 hours a
Non-stop.
day, for that non-stop, and then that's
Yeah.
right. And so afterwards, I mean, we are going to have Dr. John Cordell and Freeman Beals and everyone just come, and
Yeah.
that's right, and kicking us very hard for not sleeping.
Yeah, I just, I'm just a little bit concerned because Alejandro, you are a little bit kooky already. Now, I don't know what will happen if you don't sleep for 4 days. And I'm all the way in South Africa. I'm not close to come and help you because, I don't know. But yeah, maybe we should do that. Let's go. I don't sleep a lot, so.
Now let me ask you a question. I mean,
Yeah.
What exactly did you mean by the word cookie? Is that
not cookie, i.e. cookie with the wall.
Is that is that an African word?
It's an African description. Yeah, no, I mean, really, I don't know. 4 days, 3-4 days. Maybe we should Google what the longest conference was like. How many hours and what did they do? Great idea. You won't last on hot chocolate at that point, I believe. I think we'll definitely have to go over to the coffee for those few days. But there we go. Is that hot chocolate or coffee? Be honest.
Hold on 1 second, because I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you something.
What does that mark say in your left hand?
In this one?
Yeah.
Well, this one says Fresh Joe, macchiato, dark roast, morning blend. Ooh, that, I tell you.
The good stuff. Oh my goodness, where's Gaby? Gaby.
Listen, you never know what's going to happen in the KAPPTOR conference. I mean, you just never know.
That's it.
Never know.
That's the truth. That's the truth. We've got a KAPPTOR dance. We have a KAPPTOR mass.
Listen.
We have a KAPPTOR surprise.
Give me a minute. I'll be back.
Okay, I'm gonna play the video. Wait, I see a message from Gaby. Okay, I'm gonna play the video while I quickly help Gaby come on. There we go. Alejandro, she's going to be with us now. I believe that she has sorted out the technical aspects and she will be with us in the room very soon. So I'm
Okay,
just looking
okay.
here. We've got her presentation.
That is exciting.
Yes. Very, very exciting. Known Gaby for a while now. Good to have her on the KAPPTOR team. And I have to say, we had incredible presentations between yesterday and today.
Oh, my.
I'm looking so forward to tomorrow as well. Let me list the speakers that we have for tomorrow because it's good that we know what's upcoming. So tomorrow we have Matthew Brackett. He's also a CLA Connected Leaders Academy member with us, but he's also a BLN member. And I actually saw him in St. Louis with this event for BLN for JR. So I met him there. Phenomenal speaker, live better, love better, lead better. Very good friend of mine. We've got Laura White. She's also a CLA member, lovely person, wonderful professional lady, speaker, coach. Then we've got you and I. We're going to do a session together. So guys, be prepared. Then Stacey McPherson. She's amazing. I think you know Stacey a little bit better than I do. She's such a pleasant person, and she's been in the green room a few times now. Absolutely lovely lady. And then Jonathan Ellis is going to close us off for the conference. I'm part of his team at the Thought Provoking Change community. Absolutely love Jonathan and his family. And with that, our Gaby is in the room. Welcome, Gaby. We waited for you. How are you, love?
I'm good. How are you guys? I was dying laughing with you guys when you were laughing. Like it was so funny, this coffee thing. And I was waiting on a different link on the one you sent this morning. So I didn't realize you had a different link. Yeah. How are you, Alejandro, Juanita?
Doing fine, Gaby. Excellent. Yeah, so good to have you here.
Good. It's a bit dark here, isn't it?
You look beautiful, by the way. Love the color that you're wearing. Yeah, the links that we had this morning, every time we end a live, we have to make a new StreamYard link. So glad that you have the new link now. I have your presentation ready. And to the audience, Gaby is one of our good friends. She's also in the CLA with us. I've also had a lot of communication with her over the past few months. We check in with each other every now and again to make sure that everybody's doing okay and what's up, what's new, what's cooking. And she's a lovely person. And I know Alejandro and Gaby, they have co-authored a book, I believe. I heard about that one of the announcements. So tell us more about that.
Who, me or Alejandro?
No, you're the
Okay, so we did write a book, and the delay was because we decided also to have it translated in Spanish, which has just finished, I think, about 10 days ago, Alejandro. And it was translated, but I had to have sent it to Alejandro to have like an editing, like second eye. So I'm waiting for him to come back to me with his changes or whatever. And then the last finish up thing, it's gonna go. So I'm thinking October. Someone was asking me today, so October will be definitely out. So and then I'm also waiting for a link. I've been having challenges for having a link for the Spanish version of the book. So working on that. So hopefully in the next couple of days, we'll start promoting both the Spanish and the English version of it.
Versions.
Fantastic. I'm so proud of you guys. Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gaby, I've got your presentation ready. If you want to start, Alejandro, do you want Gaby to start so we can hear her presentation on time management?
Sure, definitely.
Are you going to introduce me first, your audience? Did you introduce me?
I'll let Alejandro introduce you because he knows you. You guys are doing the book. So tell us the title of the book, and there you go.
Well, I tell you,
Go
yes.
ahead, Alejandro.
Well, I mean, I know. Well, Gaby Abdelgadir. I mean, I know her because she is also um, a member of the Connected Leaders Academy, and I know her from there. And Gaby is not a first-time author. I mean, she has written a book that I got and I read on diversity and also on it was on bullying and mistreatment. I mean, she's such a strong advocate. I mean, when you
Thank you.
hear her, I mean, she definitely she's so strong about treating people I mean a good in a good way. I mean, she's so strong about the golden rule. I mean, if you want to be treated nicely, then you treat others in exactly
True.
the same way. And that's what Gaby is all about. I mean, she did not have an easy life. I mean, she had challenges, she had obstacles, but she is a driving force. I mean, she
Thank you.
thrives.
Thank you.
She continues moving forward. She continues adding value to people. She continues making a difference with people. She is a great entrepreneur, and she has. I tell you, how many certifications you have? I mean, she has. I mean, she has been with Bob Proctor. She has been with the chicken for I mean, what is that? The chicken for the soup, chicken for the soul soup.
Yeah.
You can
And
sing for
so
the song.
Yeah.
that's exactly right. And and also she is also known as the feng shui queen, because she can come and she can work with that energy in order to do cleaning. I mean, like a spiritual cleaning of your place, your work, your life, your house. I mean, she's definitely a feng shui practitioner, and she loves doing that. So
Yeah.
I would say that Gaby is she has a multiplicity of talents. She has a multiplicity of skills, and she is a person. And I tell you, I have been collaborating with her. I mean, for quite a while now, and I know that she is fully committed to doing the work that needs to be done. And she's just like a workhorse. I mean, she continues and she does. I mean, she's not given to excuses. I mean, she doesn't is not, well, can we do this? Well, no, I'm tired, or I got something else to do. No, no, no. She finds the time and she does it. So I can tell you, I mean, it has been my privilege. I mean, it has been my honor to be together with her, to collaborate with her, to write this book with her. And who knows how many other things, I mean, we'll probably do together. But she has been an inspiration and a motivation to me, I mean, to continue. So thank you so very much, and thank you for being here in the KAPPTOR conference as one of our speakers. I really appreciate you, and you have such a great breadth of knowledge, and
Oh,
you're going to be talking about time management today, which is a very important and very relevant topic, especially for leaders. We need to use time very very with great determination, but very intelligently, because time is something, and I said it before, you can give money away, but you can get money back. But once you give time away, you can never get it back. And so this is a very important topic. So take it away, my friend.
Thank you so much for the wonderful intro, Alejandro, and thank you, Juanita. I love this group. I love the KAPPTOR connection. And yes, that's what I keep telling my son. A day that goes by never comes back, so use it wisely. Can I have the presentation? You're going to share the slides, Juanita?
Yes, I'm just checking quickly for the slides to come on. Let's see. Let me take myself off screen.
Yeah, it's very simple. It just I've been like very busy. I have had a very busy day, but I just prepared it like in 10 minutes. So it gets me to the flow of what I want to talk about.
Okay, I see the PowerPoint came in, so I'm going to upload the PowerPoint because the other slides don't want to show, but just introduce yourself to the audience. I'm quickly downloading the PowerPoint for you.
Okay,
Then I
so
present
yeah.
it.
So time. I think more than people of our age, the younger generation needs to learn more about the power and the benefit of using your time wisely. And I talk about that with my son, who is 23 now, and his friends all the time. What are you doing? Like, they're on YouTube all day long, they're on social media all day long. And when are you going to can you just make 1 hour a day time, 1 hour a day to read a book? And you know what? I got my son like I think about 6 books to read. He started 1 chapter, 2 chapters, and he never finishes any of them. So they need to hear about that. But I think what I believe in is for every single day, you prepare the night before. I think that is what I believe. That's how I operate. Like, I write down the next day what I have to do, work related and personal. I write down in an agenda, like I have a planner, so I write it down so that the next morning, first of all, I reflect my day. So I always go reflect, what did I do today that was beneficial? Where did I go wrong? And what could I have done better? That's what I do. So next slide. And then yeah, so what I do is I just prepare for the next day, and I contemplate about my day, and then I write down the most important things that I have to do the next day. So before, I used to write like 20, 25 things that I need to write, and then I would finish 10 of them and I would get really upset that I didn't finish the whole thing. No, 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 that's not the way it works. So what I have learned from my mentors is that you write like 5 to 7, the most important things, maybe to 10 max. The most important things, not necessarily urgent, not always any urgent stuff is important. Just focus on the importance, write them down, and then focus on them the next day. So yeah, get your goals set, your to-do list set, and then you don't have to worry about it the next morning. Oh, what am I supposed to do today? Because you've already organized it the night before. Can we have this next slide? Yeah. And then how I set my day and how everybody should actually be setting their day is before they get out of their bedroom is I actually do it while I'm still in bed. When I wake up, the first thing I say is thank you, thank you, thank you. This is something I learned from Dr. Wayne Dyer. I hope like a lot of you know who he is and have read his books, and I have his CDs. I have all his books. This man like has changed me as a person in every sense of the word. So I say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for a new day. Thank you for a new blessing. Thank you for new miracles you're sending my way. Once we do that, we say a prayer. I am huge into prayer, so I take my time, get off my bed, and I pray. Once I pray, I do deep breathing, I do meditation, and I visualize my day to be a beautiful, productive one. So that is how I start my day before even leaving my bedroom. So this is a great way to start your day in a positive day. Okay, then let's go to the next slide. I prepared this like in 10 minutes. So, okay, this, I think by now everybody knows this is what the queen I am about. Clear the clutter. I cannot stress enough that clutter does affect our mind. It affects our productivity. Even it affects our health. So if you live in a cluttered place, please, please, please clean the clutter and see how you feel. Look at it, take pictures of all your clutter, work on it one weekend, get rid of the stuff that you don't need, and then come and have a look at your space. See how you feel. You will feel so light, it's not even funny. So, and then you will become more productive because you will be stress free. And then not only that, you're making space for telling the universe that you're expecting more abundance. Because if you're stuffed with stuff, you're telling the universe that I am full, I don't need anything new. But if you clear the clutter, you make space. Number one, you feel good, you're more productive, your mind is clear, and then you attract good things into your life, whether it's material or whether it's physical or non-physical. And then I don't think I wasn't a minimalist most of my life, to be honest. Like I was a shopaholic. And once I learned this, I think it was when Gaby, when 2005, I learned about this. I got rid of so much stuff, it's not even funny. And then I made space. Number one, I used to keep all these clothes because I lost so much weight. Okay, maybe I'll put on the weight. Like, so I used to keep the clothes and not get rid of them all, but I spent so much money on them. Yeah, but okay, I'm size 6 now. Why am I keeping clothes that are size 12? So once I took the feng shui and the declutter training and I got certified and I became a practitioner, I just got rid. I actually called my husband's relatives and friends and all that because they're all like expensive suits and things like that I used to wear. I told them, come, everybody, here is everything, pick up what you want. And they actually fought over them. I got rid anything size 10 and above. I felt so light because the way I am right now, I don't think I'm ever going to go to size 12 or size 14. I'm size 6 now. So I got rid of those things. So don't keep things if you didn't use them for 1 year. Do you think you're going to use them the following year? So just get rid of stuff. I have a full course about feng shui and spiritual way of clutter clearing that I'm working on that will be coming out soon. Keep an eye on that. And that will have details about everything: mind, home, spirituality, relationship, everything else, career, everything else. So that is what you should be doing. Your office, where you work, it's also extremely important that it's well clean and organized. If I took a picture of this because I have seen so many homes that they have, if you're looking at this photo right now, I have seen homes even worse than that. So how can you think when your desk is full of this and the files and you don't even know where your bills are, you don't know where your agenda, maybe there is an agenda, but keep your desk always neat and organized. That way your brain functions much better. So clear the clutter from your home and from your workspace. So that's it. Next slide. Okay, this is another clutter that really, really needs attention as well. So digital clutter also can affect productivity. I talk about email here. At one point, I remember I had 6,000 emails sitting in my inbox. I know I read them, I went through them, but did I get rid of them? No. So that is clutter by itself. So you can always create folders on your inbox and then move them, the important ones only, and then get rid, clean, and go to your spam folder. By the way, when you go to your spam folder, always go through them briefly. You don't click them, but you just go through them, because sometimes someone would send you an important email for the first time. It goes to your spam. So and then you say you haven't received their email. So just go through them and empty them on a daily basis. That's what I do now. On a daily basis, I empty my spam folder, and then I clean up. Another thing that I found is you sign up for a program, like, or for a daily seminar that involves 6 speakers, for example. All of a sudden, right after you attend that, you have like a dozen and a half people you never heard of. You don't know who they are. They start sending you emails. And then, like, who is this person? Where are these people coming from? Don't be afraid to unsubscribe from emails that are just wasting your energy or time to read or to open or things like that. Just unsubscribe. I have done that. I'm doing it actually on a weekly basis. I'm unsubscribing emails, even from some people that I know, but they don't benefit me in any way. Unsubscribe. That's what it is. So when you get your emails, also color code them based on their importance. Color code them, or like make sure you time them to show up the next day. Like if it's a bill, make sure you time it up on a day that you're supposed to pay that bill. That everything, technology has everything right now. Just get organized and get rid of the rest that you don't need. So that is that. Next slide. Another is probably, yeah. And then delegate. This is, I wasn't good at this one myself, but I have learned now. And if you are overwhelmed, there are so many great virtual EAs out there from every country around the globe, very qualified. Just check their rating, check their reviews, and then hire someone. You don't have to hire someone full time, like maybe just 2 hours a day, or 1 hour a day, or like 5 hours a week. You can hire somebody to help you so that you could focus on what is important. I am a senior executive assistant, so I don't think I would hire one for me, but I would hire for other things, like anything for a flyer, for logo, for email marketing, for things like that. I would hire, because that is not my forte, and I don't have time for it, honestly. So I would hire for that. So don't be afraid to delegate. Don't overwhelm yourself. And then don't be afraid to ask for help when you need. I have 2 different mastermind groups, and they are incredible. Every time, like, one of us is overwhelmed, the others jump in. Okay, how about I get on Zoom with you to help you out, to deal with this, and things like that. So it's very important to have accountability partners, good, reliable mastermind groups, and ask for help whenever you feel overwhelmed. There is no shame for asking for help. And then just focus on what's important to you and what you're good at, and leave the rest delegated to whoever is good. You just have to pay them for their time and for their work. And next slide, Han. And then minimize this. Oh my God, this is a doozy. So I am always thinking, all these people, they're all day long on social media. What do they do? I mean, like, where do they get the time? I don't know, maybe because I'm still working full time. But even if I didn't, I would not spend 7, 8 hours on social media. I would rather sit like for 2 hours, read a good book. But that is one of the things that really kills time. So you need to set up time, like 15 minutes a day. Check your Facebook, especially like your messengers, when people can message you something, like if you're in groups, active groups, not any groups. Like I have been in groups, I removed them all. And then, but if you are in an active group where people are actually connecting and supporting one another, just to spend 30 minutes to 45 minutes a day to go through the messages and reply to everybody or support everybody, do that. But please, please, please do not spend half a day or even like every 1 hour you're on social media. That is the worst thing you do for yourself or for your time, especially if you're working full time. If people are like entrepreneurs and they're depending on their social media to get clients, that's another story. But I'm just thinking about people who have work who have businesses they run, they need to limit their time on scrolling to social media and YouTube and all that stuff. And then when you set time to do a work or a project, please turn off all notifications. That's what I do, because you turn on notifications so that you could 100% focus on the project you're working on. Next slide. Okay, oh, this is a doozy also. Set boundaries and maintain discipline. Okay, my issue was personally, I never knew, even now, like I find it very difficult to say no if someone asks for help. But I'm learning. When it comes to somebody ill who needs help, I cannot say no. I won't lie to you guys. Like I am an empath. So someone is sick, needs help, needs to go to the hospital, needs medication, needs food. I am on it, no matter what the circumstances. But these other things, unnecessary invitations, wasting your time and things like that, or people asking for favors that don't make any sense, don't be afraid to say no. Say no, I'm sorry, I'm busy. I can't. So it was very hard for me, but I'm learning now to say no. And then block times for breaks. You work, you turn off notifications, you work, let's say, for 2 hours straight. Just have a timer. Take breaks. You need to rest, you need a break, whether it's like to go eat something, go for a walk for 10, 15 brisk walks, 10, 15 minutes, or you are an exercise person or like a fighter like jiu-jitsu or something like Juanita is, you can make that time, you do that time, take your breaks, and then come back and do some work. And then during that time, maybe you could take 10 minutes to check your Facebook or your LinkedIn, and then notifications off again and go back to work. So don't be afraid to say no to anything or anyone for that matter that wastes your time and energy. My motto is we have technology now. When the phone rings, you could see who is calling you. And you know if this person is going to be of any value to you, to your time, or is going to waste your energy or your time. You don't have to pick up the phone when someone is calling you to complain about their spouse or like to complain about XYZ or to waste your time about this and that. You don't have to pick up the phone. This is something I learned from my Bob Proctor, my mentor. I came back from his 6-day seminar. That is when I decided to get rid of negative people, wasting my energy. Some of them are people I knew from my childhood. Some are related to my husband, my late husband. And I stopped picking up the phone. And then I would pick it after 5 days. Then, oh, what happened to you? We called you and you never this, that. Well, I'm busy and I'm also taking classes in the evening. And then I had one lady even say to me, why do you always have to take classes? I told her it's better for me than being on the phone and gossiping about who is divorcing who and who is having an affair with who and this and that. I told her, I don't have time. I'm now a single mom. I have a son to take care of, and I like to study. I like to learn, and I will learn until the day I die. That was my answer to her. She never called me again, by the way, which was great. So I came from that 6-day seminar. I got rid exactly of a dozen people, 12 of them. I am wishing them well. I always want to hear good news about them, but they're out of my life and my son's life forever. So don't be afraid to remove people who drain your energy. But the secret is you always have to wish people good, because karma comes back to you. If you wish people good things will come to you multiplied. If you do the opposite will come back to you multiplied. But do not waste your time or energy with anyone who drains your energy, period. And then obviously everybody uses a planner. Use a planner to get you organized and always set a timer. I already talked about that. Next slide.
It
You there,
seems that
Juanita?
it seems that it doesn't want to go to the next slide. Let me upload the previous format and let's see if it will go to slide number 9. I'll
Okay,
just
I
quickly.
can, yeah, I can also open it from here and then just talk about it. We don't have to. What happened to it? Not
I
happy?
just have slide 1 to 8 on the PowerPoint, but there's another format that came through before that. Maybe that's got more slides on.
Okay, so that is what oh, you know what? It was the last one. No wonder.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
because I prepared this in 10 minutes. I prepared these slides in
wow.
10 minutes. Yeah.
Wow.
So I
Very
couldn't do
good,
more.
very good.
So that is my advice about time management. Wake up early. I think everybody talks about that. And then the last thing you do is just, for me, like I always tell the people that I visit when I go to their, especially their kitchen, like I say, please, women, when your kids go to sleep, clean your kitchen and don't leave the sink full of dirty stuff. Can you imagine you wake up early morning and then you go to your kitchen, it's full of, I don't want to say, but it's so disorganized and dirty, and then you want a good coffee. But when you clean everything at night and then in the morning you wake up, you need your coffee. It feels so good. Your kitchen is clean. You just set up your coffee and you have coffee. So clutter is a huge thing that affects people. So yeah, at night, get organized for the next day. That is at least how I live my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very good. I agree. My apologies if you hear any. That's why I asked Alejandro to introduce you. In the office block where my office is, there are people watching. I don't know if you've heard of rugby
No,
before.
I didn't hear anything.
Oh, because they're watching rugby in the office next door because South Africa is playing against New Zealand. So, I mean,
Yeah.
everybody's screaming and chanting. But you know, Gabby, what I love about decluttering is all the little tips and tricks that I've learned, through the series of the last few months, like, the doorway or where you come into your home through the door. Don't have things that are blocking the way. Make
True.
sure it's an open way. Certain places to put certain furniture
Yeah.
and little things, but that make the world of difference. So tell us a little bit for those who are not very familiar with decluttering and feng shui. Tell them, about we know the suidooste, die rigtings, north, south, east, west. What is
Oh
supposed to
yeah,
be
yeah, yeah,
there?
yeah. That
Please
is
explain
so,
that
yeah.
now in
I know.
English.
I don't use that, but what I do
Mhm.
is when I have a client, I normally want their birthday.
Yeah.
So you give me your birthday, and then I will get a full feng shui. No, this is not astrology, so people don't get confused. So I'll get your
Yeah.
full information about you, what animal you are, and what color you are, and what you should be using on your bedroom. Which corner is your lucky corner for health? Which area is your lucky area for career or money, and which area is your lucky area for relationships. And then based on the report that I get out there, that is when I advise you what to place in each corner. So I do that. So it's different. People confuse between astrology and feng shui. Feng shui is that, yeah, and then the way you place your furniture it can affect you. The way you sit can affect you. The way you sleep can affect you. What you put in, even on the walls, what kind of photos you hang, it will affect you. And yeah. So it's a lot. So I'm in my course, I'm going into details, like every
Good.
single details, and some of it may be surprising. The reason I did feng shui is because it changed my life. I don't know if I mentioned that before. I was having nightmares. I couldn't
Oh.
sleep. When my husband passed away, there was this one time when I brought him from the hospital. He said, "Can I just go to sleep one night? Can you talk to the doctor?" I go to sleep one night in my home. And then I spoke to her. She was a top doctor of cancer doctor. She said, "Okay." They gave me a bunch of medicine and instructions, and we brought him home, my brother-in-law and I. I put him to bed, and I went to make soup for him because with the chemotherapy, like his taste
Mhm.
changed and all that. Went to make soup, and then um, it wasn't even 10 minutes. I went back to check on him. His eyes, I couldn't see his eyes, was like rolled, and then the blood was coming out like of his one side of his. It came to the pillow, to the bed, to the floor, to the carpet. So that Then I had to go back and call my brother-in-law, come back right now. He goes to me, what happened? Are you going to come back or should I call? Like, luckily, two people knocked on the door and they came in. When they went to the hospital, they told them he went for one night. He went home for one night. So they came in and I shouted and they came running and they slapped him and they helped him wake up. And then, so anyway, when he passed away that night, that view was waking me up several times at night, right? So my
Yeah.
friend called me when I was telling her these nightmares, that picture couldn't get out of my. She goes to me, you need to hire a feng shui master. I said, I know about it, but how is she gonna? How are they gonna help me? She goes to me, try me. You need a good master. So I hired one. She came in. Oh my goodness, the things she made me do changes. I am a clean freak. Okay, I'm organized, but I didn't know anything about feng shui before. And the things she made me get rid of, the things she made me buy and put where, because she got my birthday also well ahead of time. And then she gave me 2 weeks to finish all the homework and she said she will come back. And I did everything except one item was so difficult to find. I just found it like 2 days before her coming back. I placed it there. You know what? That night was the first night I slept through the night without nightmare. I became a believer. Immediately I went in and I Googled the lady who was on the movie The Secret, and I signed up with her and I did all her advanced courses. I finished that. The universe is telling me something. That week from Hay House Radio, Louise Hayes station, from there, an email pops in. Denise Lynn, who is a master at spirituality and declutter. She also loves feng shui, but her the decluttering is different, a bit different. Comes in my email certification. And I said, okay, God, you're telling me something right now. I signed. I didn't even resist. I signed. I finished that. The exam was really not easy, but I did pass. I got my certificate. So I combined the two now, work on them. So it is really, really powerful.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for explaining that to the audience because there are audience members that are very well versed in feng shui, but there's also members out there or people out there that never heard of it before.
Yeah.
And look into it, make contact with Gaby, let her explain to you the dynamics, how it works. Alejandro, would you like to ask Gaby a question? Do you have a question or a comment, please?
I don't have a question, but definitely thank you so very much. I mean, it was a great, very concise but very powerful presentation on, and I think that definitely, I mean, the whole area of decluttering. I mean, if you can start decluttering spaces, I mean, your workspace, your home, then you go into decluttering your digital.
Mind.
That's right, and then you just declutter your mind.
Yes.
Because sometimes,
That's
I mean,
right.
there's so much clutter in your mind, and you need to declutter. So it's I think that it's like why do we take a shower every single day? I mean, because we get I mean, we do things, we get dirty. I mean, so we need to wash, we need to clean. So in the same way, spaces get dirty, get decluttered, get disorganized, and so you have to give them a sort of a decluttering shower. I mean, so you
Yeah.
clean them up.
Yeah.
Keep
So
it clean and keep it neat, guys. Clean
I know
and
I
neat.
need. Yeah. So my course will be starting from home, and it's gonna go room by room, corner
Nice.
by corner, and then it's gonna go to office, and then it's gonna go to even your car needs to be decluttered, by the way. And
Good.
oh yeah, and then it will go to mind, and then it will go to time, and then it will go to relationships, because all these have to be at a good place for you to be in a good place. So it
yes.
will go, like, it's going to be a great powerful course that I've been working on for a while now.
Fantastic. When will that be available, Gabby? Are you gonna promote that, advertise that soon, or is it
Yes,
gonna be
yeah,
for a while?
yeah. So I'm thinking, because that has like the majority of the work is
Mhm.
done for that. So I'm thinking maybe another 5 weeks or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it will be that, and then how strong is your leadership chain? So it will be like promoting those two. But
Good.
for the book, we're gonna start promoting it now, even though like
Yeah.
it will be out it will be out in. We already started. Like about a handful people have purchased copies, pre-ordered copies. Not as much as I would have wanted, but they are. But then we're not promoting it enough, to be honest. So I was waiting for the Spanish to come out because we have a
Yes.
lot of Spanish in our
Mm.
community. So I was waiting for that as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, we're gonna
And
start promoting that, and my course will not need as much promotion as the book. Yeah,
Mhm.
so it will. I'm just gonna put it out there. I'm in a few groups, and then a lot of people who have taken my webinars, who have been in my workshops, they're already telling people, oh my God, you got to do this. You got to call her. You got to hire her. You got to do this. So I think referral is more that is working for me when it comes to declutter things. So, but the
yeah.
course will be a keeper. You pay once, but you can go back to it over and over again. And then
Beautiful.
I will offer to certain number of people, I will offer a free report based on your
Yes.
birthday. I cannot do that for everybody, but for a
Of
certain
course.
number, I will do that. Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Gabby, for joining us here at the KAPPTOR Connection Conference number 3. I know we were talking about that a few weeks ago when we caught up the one weekend we were catching up. And I'm so happy that you joined us and that you're sharing yourself with the world. We appreciate and love you and
I love
cheering
you
you
guys too.
on
You're
the
doing
success.
great job. I love you both, and you're doing an incredible job. And thank you so much for opening up to bring in like empowerment to people. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Definitely.
Have a
Thank you so
beautiful
very
rest
much.
of
You're welcome. Love you
Thank you,
Bye.
guys.
Gaby.
Mwah.
Bye.
Take care.
All the way, all
Okay,
the best.
bye.
Bye bye. Bye
Bye.
bye.
Ciao. Bye.
Bye.
Okay.
Alejandro
Yeah.
J. Tornato.
Oh, that's me. That's me. Yes.
Day 2 is finished. What happened?
Well, this is what
Uh,
this is what I've been saying.
I don't know.
Pretty soon is going to be day 3, and we are going to be finishing the whole conference. I mean, this conference
It
days. I mean,
flies.
they march on so quickly.
It just flew by. It flew by. Tomorrow is day 3, and then I'm going to be sad when it's done. But I'm also going to be excited because then I get to plan the next one.
Yes, yes. That's exactly. There's no time to lose at the KAPPTOR Connection headquarters.
Guys, we had a lovely day with you. Tomorrow we have another amazing lineup of speakers in our
Yes.
final day of the KAPPTOR Connection Conference 3. And we're absolutely excited and so very thankful for everyone that has, just come on screen, shared all their expertise, their time. We appreciate you. Have a beautiful rest of your Friday, what's left of it. Here it's 11 p.m. in South Africa. I believe you guys are early, maybe late afternoon right now. So enjoy the rest of your Friday, and we'll be back tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bye, everyone. Bye, Leandro.
Bye bye. Take care.